the side of the table.
Is it really?
None of my buttons are working. There. Are you getting buttons? Did you just switch a button?
I just switched.
I was having trouble with this tablet earlier.
Yeah.
Not wanting to switch for me. That's what I was trying to go to, is the cave shot, like normal.
Oh.
And now we're stuck in between. See how it's stuck? There.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It's a lot of bells and whistles to figure out.
Okay, welcome everybody. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for those of you who are already in the chat. Get ready to go here. I'll do this and we'll get started. Welcome, Shane, to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to hopefully have a lively discussion. We already discussed most of it. I think we're just going to give them the cliff notes now.
Yeah.
We talked about it beforehand, so we'll... we just went at it downstairs talking. We're like, hell yeah, man. Anyways, all right. I'm going to do the quick disclaimers and call it. Do you have any disclaimers you need to...
Nothing I know of.
Nothing that you know of. All right, that's good.
Well, I'll say this. These views are my own personal views, not that of Howell Township nor the board's.
There you go.
There you go.
That works. Larry, I'm going to try my buttons again and see if they actually work. I am projected out. Okay. Does this work? That worked behind me. Now does it work for... It went to that. Okay, great. That apparently needed to refresh my buttons. Notice this podcast is raw, unfiltered, politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, the Pledge of Allegiance, especially the part about one nation under God. We thank our troops for their service. Thank you all those in the audience and Larry here at the table for your service. We recognize only two genders. Dangle, no dangle. Check your equipment. As adults, we enjoy adult beverage. I am the one enjoying a nice Di Serono tonight. And we cuss. We do not curse or swear. Look up the definition. There's a big difference between cussing, cursing, and swearing. It drives me nuts when people use them interchangeably. I go, are you kidding? Or when they apologize, oh, excuse my French. It's not French. It's Anglo-Saxon. It's ridiculous. Anyways.
Pardon my Scott.
We love Jesus, but we hate religion and religious hypocrites or assholes. If any of this offends you, you should have left by now. You have been warned. And there we go. I'm going back to this one right there. And the button worked. Great. And does that button work? And I'm not giving you any disclaimers tonight, Larry.
Okay, but there's no... What button's supposed to work? Oh, what button just worked? Because I didn't hear anything.
What? Oh, this button? That didn't work.
No.
I can see it playing, but there's no audio. You know what part of it was? There were updates today from Windows.
Oh,
Love updates from Windows.
They
always do that. So
Don't do updates.
Don't do updates. We're going to get right into the show. I'm enjoying my first Di Serono for the weekend.
Should I be hearing anything on my earpiece here?
You should be hearing in your earpiece.
No,
I hear
ain't
you
got
in your
nothing.
microphone. Your
Okay.
microphone's working.
I don't need to hear anything.
Let me see. Yep, of course. I did not shut them off, but they are turned off over here. Turn your volume down real quick, Tim. Or Shane. We're going to talk about.
Oh, I hear you now.
Okay. And my my former show producer for
Check.
for 2
All
straight
right.
years was named Tim.
Okay. Well,
So that's why I go, fix that, Tim.
as long as you're calling me that one.
Exactly. I did not mean that at all, dude. We're like, yeah. Where's Bob? I don't know where Bob is. He was scheduled to be here, but and Larry talked to him on Wednesday. We did not get a confirmation, so I apologize for that. I didn't get a chance to update that, so Beatrice is calling me out. Appreciate you calling me out. We'll have to note that in the notes when we note that in the notes. Let's dive into it. Shane, you've been involved in a lawsuit, but you live in Howell Township.
Yep.
Where would you like to start? You and I already had a great conversation, but let's get the audience caught up to everything. Where do you want to start? Let's talk about where you when you moved here. And
All right, yeah.
you got what you say, 15 acres?
Yep,
Really
15
nice.
acres. I live on the south side of Howell Township on over on Mason Road.
Okay.
Moved here in about 2018.
Okay.
Kind of been involved with government activities and such for most of my adult life. I was a delegate at one time,
Right.
and at this current time, I'm now a township trustee. So, trying to do my part and bring back the liberty that we all seem to think we have.
Which we obviously have. It's been eroded. Oh, I switched to the fish cam. Look at that, Larry. Where are you keeping track of me, Larry?
You switched to the gay fish.
I switched to the gay fish cam. I was gonna I'm discombobulated. I apologize. I was at my buddy's wedding this weekend and we drank a lot.
Probably a lot of gay
But I
fish
said, just
there.
like I said, this is my first Di Serono for the weekend. So, 2018,
Yep.
moved in here. What appealed? What was there an appeal? Was it anything about the location or?
Yeah, location. I've always, I grew up over in the southwest of Lansing. I was working down in the Detroit, Novi, Wixom area. So I kind of always wanted to be in the middle, and Howell was kind of that point where, halfway between my family and halfway between my
Okay.
career. So
Yeah.
Howell Township was a good place to be.
Yep.
We found us a good chunk of land there, and
I mean, 15 acres is nice.
yeah. So very appealing.
But you've had a few issues.
Yeah. You'd think on 15 acres that you kind of could do your own thing and
spread
keep
out.
to yourself and
Yeah, yeah.
spread out. And I think as many of us find out, there's things known as township ordinances that
Are-
typically say otherwise. So,
Exactly. Before we go any deeper, explain to, I always like to give explanations. Being a delegate myself, Larry a delegate, having run a few campaigns. What is a township, you said
trustee.
Yeah. What does that mean to be a trustee?
So how I interpret it is, you're a voice for the township. You're kind of the connection between the township officials and policies and the people.
Okay.
You're looking out for the best interest of the township at all times and to protect the township at large as all the officials are, but I feel like the trustee's responsibility is to bring the concerns of the residents to the township.
Okay.
There's no duties such as the supervisor, the treasurer, or the clerk would have. Is the supervisor kind of oversees all operations, and the treasurer's duties are to collect taxes, and the clerk's duties are to handle elections. So there's no duties outside of being involved in the meetings and being involved in the decisions made, and
Okay.
doing your due diligence to understand those things.
Do you have voting power
Yes.
in those situations?
Yep, we do have voting power. I think for those who may not understand that everything has to go through the board. All authority starts at the board and
Okay.
trickles out from there. So
The trustee board.
the Board of Trustees.
Board of
So
Trustees, yeah.
regardless of your title, whether you're supervisor, treasurer, or clerk, it's a Board of Trustees. I mean, I think that the law
So
would
it's an
see
elected
it as
oversight.
it is an elected oversight of
Okay.
the township's activities.
And how many
The,
of your fellow trustees are there?
So there's 7 board members. There would be 3 of those advisory roles and then 4 trustees.
Okay. All right. So a total of 7,
Total of 7, yes.
which is good. I mean, that's, it's a good typical odd number. where you
Yeah,
got-
yeah.
you can get
I think as most townships would start out with 5 board members with only 2 trustees, and then at some point, as townships grow, I think it becomes the common consensus to get more opinions and views amongst the board. So,
Right.
I
So do
think
you,
at any time they can.
in that capacity, do you take time to, I'm assuming you do, that's why I'm asking, it's kind of rhetorical, but I want you to ask. You take time to connect with the community and be involved in local events and talk with the neighbors and talk about
Yeah,
stuff?
very much so. I mean, more so than ever,
Yeah.
as you understand things that are going on within the township developments, things like that.
Yeah.
Now my ear is a lot closer to the ground than it's ever been, and I try to get more viewpoints than I ever would have.
Right.
I think it's easy for us all to perhaps dig our heels in and hold our own views and try to bring that to the board accordingly. But now it's more important than that. You go out, you talk to neighbors, you talk to people
Right.
within the community, what their thoughts are, and
Is that a when you run, is that partisan? Or is it supposed
Yes,
to be
it
non?
is
It is
partisan,
partisan,
yeah.
okay. So you get elected, so I'm assuming the majority, given Livingston County, the majority of your board makeup is roughly either conservative or Republican?
yes, yep.
Not perfect people, but lean,
Yes, I would say the majority of our board, 6 out of the 7 members are Republicans or
Yeah.
claim to be.
claim to be. That's what I said, not perfect. Okay, so you're digging in the community, you're checking stuff out. How long, is that a 2-year?
4-year term.
Oh, it's a 4-year term?
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good. And it's, obviously, you gotta run a little campaign when you do that stuff and do
Yep.
that. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was quite an experience to go through for a young man.
And
I
I'm
feel.
assuming it's a non-paid,
Actually, it is a paid position.
Okay.
The trustee position pays, I think, about $500 a month. So.
okay, little stipend for your meeting time?
Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? Like you almost don't want your elected officials to
be paid.
have to be paid to have a fiscal reason to be running, but you also
Right.
it would raise the question if there wasn't as to why they're there too, right? So
It's a very interesting dynamic because, yeah, I think you're, tapping into our founding fathers. They meant for the wealthy, not extreme wealth, but at least landowners who were well-to-do, to be able to take a couple years off, or at least be able to. I mean, not even they don't even have to take time off, but they know when they're going to be in session. I mean, we often, we'll bitch and complain about the amount of time that our legislators are not in session, but that's not actually their fault now. That's a throwback to when we were citizen servants that were only required to be in session for so long. And what are you doing in session anyways? Because we don't need you writing 1,000 laws. So the least amount of times that you're convening, but then when emergencies happen, but that's why we have our chief executive, So it's a very interesting dynamic. But yeah, that idea of not being paid, but then you realize there's also, that's why it should be a modest salary if you don't do that. But just as much as I think about voting and stuff like that, I think there should be some requirement. You don't own land. You don't have a vested interest in these dynamics. I mean, there was a little dust up this past election about residency dynamics of a couple of the candidates, and I'm like, I think that's a valid thing. We've had presidents in the past or vice presidents that lived in the same state, and one of them had to move prior to declaring running because that something was built in by our founding fathers as a requirement of your resident, not just being an American born here, but also where your residency is and how that ties in the community. I mean, we've got a huge carpetbagger in Alyssa Slotkin, who doesn't even, was originally from New York, and Larry loves her a lot. He really appreciates the job she's doing. He doesn't
big
slam-
advocate.
He
I
he
can
is
tell.
a huge advocate of Alyssa Slotkin. Okay, so trustee, everything like that, and you were just elected in this.
This past year, tail end of the year, so I
Okay.
started term, I believe, right in beginning of December, so coming up on 1 year now.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that, because we need that advocacy, and I think many of the things that we're going to get into tonight point directly into why you wanted to get involved, and I think that's a big dynamic of what they called it, the grassroots movement. They call it, a lot of this. When I got in as a delegate 4 years ago, where's my stuff at? I got something. I went to county convention. I went to state convention. When I got involved, it was just, all right, I got to get involved, and figuring out what that meant and what that does, what that looks like. And then you see some of the political stuff inside, and you're like, what is going on here? And at a lot of points it can be very disheartening, and at other points it's disillusioning. You're like, I thought we were all on the same page as you said. 6 out of the 7, and you're like, yeah, roughly. So let's take a step back from you being elected as a trustee and being as much in depth as you can be at that level, right? Is there anything else, if you guys have a control over what the board can do before they do it in a general way, is there anything above that? I mean, you said even the supervisor they have to.
Yeah, they have statutory duties, right?
Okay.
So above that, I think the only thing would be is that there's committees that come about to handle certain inquiries or developments within the township.
But then those are appointed by.
Yeah, those are appointed positions.
Yeah.
Often, I don't think any of them would be paid positions.
Okay.
But basically, another avenue for, what would you say, another advisory committee to the board,
Okay.
right? So
I know
somebody
we
to
had,
have discussions.
I
And
know we had, what was her, Sharon?
yeah,
She was
Sharon
part of the
Lolio.
planning commission.
Yeah,
The planning
that's
commission.
correct, which is an advisory role to
Exactly.
the board.
Yeah.
Everything pyramids down from the board.
And I think the best things about this is maintaining transparency, which we don't get. But that should be the best dynamics of it, is maintaining that transparency. Okay, so you move here, Howell Township, 2018. You got good reasons to do it. You get a big plot of land. At what point you said that you're working in Detroit, doing some stuff around the Detroit. You say Novi as well?
Yeah, Novi, Wixom area is
Okay.
probably where I spent a good 10 years of my
Yeah, so
career
you're
there.
hitting 96. You're shooting right
Yeah,
across.
yep, doing that 96 drive that I always
You don't want
thought
to
I
do it
would.
right now. It's ridiculous, dude.
There was a point in my career where I remember standing out behind one shop going, man, I would never drive any further east from here. And then a couple of years later, I'm driving further east going, what the fuck?
So
did I
what's
do?"
your occupation by trade?
So I'm a welder, fabricator,
Okay.
designer.
Can I bring you my mower deck?
You can.
Not to his
but-
house. Apparently not to his house.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't bring it to his house. Okay.
Well,
so,
I think you can now, but we'll see if that holds.
so welder by trade, how many years?
Gosh, I probably picked up a MIG gun when I was 14 years old, and I'm 37 now.
Oh,
So
you're an old man.
yeah, getting
Wow.
up there, right?
And Larry,
so
you got Larry and I not beat at all. I get to turn 53 this November, so
You do. That's only a couple weeks away.
yeah.
The big party, and I heard Ted Nugent was coming.
Ted Nugent's coming.
That's what I heard.
no way.
No way.
Oh man, well, I'm not coming then.
Yeah. You'll be there. You will see Ted Nugent here, but no. Show him never mind. Anyways, yeah, we're releasing, the band's releasing a CD. Pretty excited about that. So
Is your buddy coming down from up north, the guy that makes Eddie Van Halen look bad?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
Last time I talked to him, he was trying to work out a schedule. That's
Yeah.
my buddy Tony.
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's a good man. I like Tony, and I'm surprised his guitar doesn't explode in his hand.
Well, he does.
And I'm not kidding.
He does on Friday nights. I'll have
Yeah.
to check the most recent stuff, but he does Friday nights. He calls them Friday night. What's he call it? Friday night guitar or Guitar Fridays.
Guitar Friday.
Guitar Fridays. So that's one of the things he does in his podcast is he literally will pull up YouTube and it's playing like a drum and a bass line.
Yeah.
And he just gets on there and he just jams out on there and he goes, all right, let's try another one. And I've never done it. Well, I did do it once. I went up there one time and we pulled up there was a whole section of YouTube ones that had drums and rhythm guitar,
Yeah.
and it showed us the chords as it was,
Yeah,
where it was
backing
at.
tracks.
Well, weren't you guys doing?
And I played bass and he played guitar, and we jammed out 3 or 4 songs
Weren't
on his
you guys
guitar.
doing Van Halen on the stage a couple years ago when he came?
Yeah, but we do Van Halen.
Yeah.
We do 2 Van Halens with Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy tears it up. He just won't do Eruption for me yet. But we do the song. We do what's the actual title of the song? Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song. But you know how it's Eruption is before that on the album?
Yeah.
Where he's diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle, and Tony can do that. Tommy's like, dude, that's too much work. But Tommy's a phenomenal lead guitarist in his own right. I mean, I love the leads he comes up with. But anyway, so that party's coming up. I don't know, what did we go down that road? It was fun. Anyways, so you're a welder. I grew up with a welder. My stepdad was, he was my stepdad for 26 years. He was a welder, truck driver, and then a welder on the side, and then it became one of his main things was being a welder. And my oldest son's a welder. He's the chief welder at the shop he works at.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
if I tell you the name.
It's a great career. I can't say enough about it. I came up through a vocational program over in Lansing. I'm actually back over there teaching some classes now.
That's awesome.
Trying to give back to the industry that's given so much to me.
Well, I'm gonna have to hire you to come teach me some lessons.
All right, you got it, man.
I borrowed Al's welder to weld the pipes down there.
I have a little 110 welder at home.
Stop! You've never welded.
Yes, I have. Not professionally. I fixed some broken parts and they work.
Hey, you know what? I will brag all day long. I welded an aluminum. I broke it, so then I welded back an aluminum carburetor. It was in a. What's the one brand?
I hope you drained the gas first.
What's the one brand? The yellow ones. Cub Cadet.
Okay.
So I inherited a Cub Cadet from my mom, and we had it on the farm, and there was something wrong. I took the carburetor off, I did a bunch of stuff, and I put it back on, and I didn't pay attention to the plate, and I broke one of the mounting ears off, maybe like a 1.5 inch by an 1.25 inch corner, and it was right in the bowl. So where the float bowl was. So I broke it right off, and I'm like, how did I do that? So I brought it over here at the man cave. It wasn't the man cave at the time. It was my father-in-law's shop, and he had a full-blown, with everything, welder on it. And I said, do we got aluminum? And he goes, yeah, but you can't weld aluminum. And I'm like, I'm going to try. And I took my time, and I welded that corner back together, and I got the bowl clean inside with a little Dremel, got it all clean. And I took it, at the time he had one of those 6-inch wide by 3 foot belt sander. The belt itself is 3 foot.
Yeah.
So your top. And I literally took it and I gently put it on there, and I got the bottom where I'd welded the bottom, and I got it extremely smooth on there. Put a new gasket on, put it back on the mower, filled it up with gas, checked it, no leaks. Fired it up, ran. We ended up giving it to we ended up donating it to one of the charities for, I don't know where they take it, but they were like, we got a mower, we got a bunch of other stuff, and we donated it to this charity, and they came and picked up. They're like, oh yeah, well people need mowers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was phenomenal. So I did that, and I did fix the bead on my wife ran over a curb, and I fixed the bead on the aluminum rim. I ground out a little bit, and I welded it back in there. So I had a little bit of. I think I was better at the shaping and polishing afterwards than I was at the welding dynamics.
Yeah, being a welder is just one thing, and I remember going through school. They said a welder's a machine. Is what how they described it. There's more to it, right? And the fabricator portion of it, that's the grinding, that's the metal finishing and the metal shaping and all those things and bending. And
I love it. My oldest son Al, he every once in a while when he's doing something really cool. Right now he does the coils. So they do the helix coils where they run the piers into the ground when the ground's bad, really soft. They determine how long so they might run a pier down in there 40 feet. Well, he welds the fins on it, which are basically like the blades of a auger.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're meant to be permanent in there, and then the top of that pipe is sticking through the footing, and they pour the concrete around it. So he welds the fins on it in the shop. So it's basically taking that circle metal and then stretching it to the right proportion and then running that bead. But he gets to do some other fabricating periodically, and he'll send me. he'll put his camera on. I don't know how he does it on the camera because that's so bright, but he's figured it out, and he'll send it to me, and he shows me walking that puddle around. He's like, yeah, Dad, I was walking that. Check that out. I was walking that puddle, and he gets these gorgeous, just you can just see how nice they are because you can tell when there's a bad weld. And I go, yeah, I'm the bad weld. I'm gonna put a whole bunch of metal on that and grind that shit down later.
Being a fabricator welder is one of those careers I wonder if it works like other people's, because everybody I tell that to, they're, oh yeah, I can weld. Not very good usually is the same story
No,
again.
yeah.
And I think, man, does that work that way for everybody else's industry? But it's I'm proud to be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do what I do, and it's been a great career, and it's growing, it's booming. I mean,
It is.
The takeover of the AI right now. The white collar jobs are going away in a hurry,
Right.
and people are looking for something to latch onto that's going
I
to be
keep
around.
telling
and
these kids,
it looks strong.
That's
so.
awesome that you're teaching, because I keep telling these kids, I'm like, there's certain trades you cannot you could get your materials from China, you can get your materials from Indonesia or wherever. You got to have somebody that can put it together with skill. My buddy, I'm part of that project at the end of the road here, the 36,000 square foot fitness center.
Okay.
And literally the owner we had a whole, metalworking crew come in, but he's had to learn how to weld, and now he's really good at it. Like from start, when he's just figuring out, he's got his own welder at the shop, down there at the job site, and I've borrowed it a couple times and brought it down here, but he's like, oh, check out that bead. I'm like, dude, you're getting so good at that. And I think it's that repetition, but you also have to have some skill in that. And you can't, no matter what you do, you can have a whole bunch of robots in a factory. As soon as that goes out in the field, you got to have a skilled guy that can do that. I had another buddy that they do underground pipes, various applications and stuff like that. And there's somebody in the hole down in there welding that hole, welding that seam together on that big piece of pipe and making sure that is solid all the way through. And they know they got to get good. You could have a 1/2 inch thick pipe that you got to make sure you get deep into that, get penetration in there.
Oh, yeah.
And you might be making 4 or 5 passes.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, was it Schedule 40, something like 1/2 inch pipe, or depending on the on the application, you could have 1 inch thick walls. So
Oh yeah.
it's just
Don't they bevel it?
Yep,
At that
bevel
point,
it.
so you get it all,
Typically an open root as well, so it's not only filling that void in, but getting all the way through and to the other side of a proper pipe weld. If you were to look at the inside of the pipe, it would look like somebody was inside the pipe and welded a bead.
Really?
Yeah,
And you're doing that
yeah.
from outside?
Doing it
That's
from
one
the
of the
outside.
things that I'm figuring out is how to bridge that little bit of gap. If I cut something a little too big, where I had a piece of pipe tying into another pipe and I got a
Yeah.
little bit, it's how to bridge that gap and how to build up those edges until you end up filling it up,
And really, that's the best case scenario, because there's no void, there's no absence
Yeah.
of material in between.
And
so.
if you're doing, some of that stuff where you're having high pressure pipelines, you gotta be good at that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
know?
and typically there's X-ray that's coming in behind you to
Yeah.
check it.
What's
or
the other
is-
one? X-ray. I was thinking of the other one, like a
Ultrasonic.
Ultrasound. Yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking. I point to a woman's. I'm like ultrasound, right?
Exactly the same. They put they put a gel on there and everything.
Do
I
they?
wanna say, yep.
I
Yeah,
did
it's
not
been a
know
long
that.
time since I've seen it done.
Yeah.
But
X-rays. That seems a little bit less invasive.
yeah,
than
but
the
I
X-rays.
think it all comes down to having the right person analyze it too, right? Like to actually know what those voids or
100%.
impurities or something might be. So
You got to be good at that stuff. I remember talking to my chiropractor years ago, and I said, how he would walk up and he'd go, where's it? I'm like, well, my lower back. And he'd come in and he'd do this and he'd do that and he'd go, pop right there. And I go, that was it. Dude, that was awesome. And I asked him one day, I said, how do you know? He said, look, you put a piece of sand on this glass table. We were sitting in his lounge area. And I said, he goes, if you put a piece of sand on that glass table and you run your hand over it, you're going to find that piece of sand. I goes, yeah. He goes, that's what I'm trained to do with your back and your spine, is find that piece of sand that's out of place and get that back into place. They said, that's why I do x-rays. That's why I do a pre-consult with you, before I start working on you. And then when you come in here twice a week, he said, I know where I was doing roofing at the time, which was, hardcore. He was awesome. I had a subscription to where I could come in twice a week, and I'd pay like a monthly fee, and I could come in twice a week, get an adjustment, quick adjustment, and then they would massage you right where they had adjusted so that your muscles didn't pull you back out of alignment, because your muscles get trained to be in the wrong spot.
Oh yeah.
And it was awesome. But yeah, I said, how do you do it? He goes, if there's a piece of sand on there, and I go, oh, that makes so much sense. And you get good at your craft, you got to have people that know what they're doing.
Yep.
You know, I think a lot of these, well, Larry knows about trucking. We got a rash of these truckers that are getting Insta driver's license and wreaking havoc.
These illegals that are going into states that issue illegals driver's licenses, and they're killing people all over the country.
Yep.
You know? And that's
it's unfortunate, and it doesn't need to happen.
and by the way, Michigan is not one of those states. Just so everybody.
No, but you know what?
But
Michigan's
the
one of the states.
Democrats are trying.
They're trying.
The Democrats want to make Michigan an illegal friendly state.
I had a permit one time, CDL permit, and I wanted to drive truck amongst everything else, right? Wanted to be a fabricator, a mechanic, a truck driver,
Might
do
as
it
well.
all. And I was talking to a truck driver at the place I worked, and it's like, well, how hard is it, you know? And he says, you ever been to a truck stop? I said, well, yeah. He goes, you ever see the people in the truck stop? I said, yeah. He says, can't be that hard, can it? I said, well, that's quite an analysis. So
Yeah. Well, if you're judging a book by its cover, I'd say that. But I grew up. Yeah, you're right.
And
You're
I specialize in heavy haul. You know, I
yeah.
don't specialize in just. I do. You know, I haul freight too.
Right.
But my specialty is heavy haul.
My stepdad hauled for Hamady Meats for
Yeah.
years, and he would make a circuit from the lower part of the state, and he would make the big circuit around the state, the lower peninsula, and he would have his refrigerator truck, and he would hit Hamady store after Hamady store unloading, the different whatever he had for whatever they needed at their store, but it was a meat truck, and that was what he would do. And then he did long haul at one point. Remember, he drove through a snowstorm in Pennsylvania, and
Wish I could say I never did that. I wish I could say I never did.
he said he was driving and going along, and he said he saw a trailer, and he saw an axle, and then he saw part of a cab, and then he's just watching as this guy basically just obliterated his truck in a snowstorm.
Oh yeah.
And there was pieces, because it was just sliding. And,
I have seen some hellacious
yeah.
accidents involving trucks. I've seen trailers split in half, the load spewed all over the road,
Yep.
the tractor unrecognizable, the engine and the frame in one spot, the cab and the hood somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yep, I've seen pretty much everything.
When I was driving back and forth to Indiana this weekend,
Saw one truck sitting right on its radiator, standing up on a bridge. The truck was down on the road below, and the back of the truck was up on the bridge, just standing there like somebody set it there.
Yeah. And I think about those dynamics. I think about it, as we're talking about, trades that are never going to, you can fabricate a ton of stuff, a ton of the materials, but if you want somebody to actually frame your house, unless you're building your house out of, shipping containers, stacking them on there, you still need somebody to stack them. But I mean, you're having a custom frame house, you need a good carpenter to come in there and do the work, I mean, yeah, you can hire some lower skilled people that do a decent job of, roofing it or throwing some siding on, but they're just jobs you can't replace. And I think they're trying to do this automated trucking thing, which I go back and forth because trucking's huge in this nation.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah, the automated trucking thing is going to blow up in their face.
Well,
You
they're trying to do the electric trucks with our truckers too.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
That's another stupid thing that they just need to scrap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all well and good. It's all pie in the sky dreams, but in the end of the day, there's just nothing more versatile than a good old fashioned truck with a diesel engine and a fuel tank.
100%.
That truck can run around the clock. You put 2 drivers in it.
Yeah. I know my cousins switched to biodiesel quite a few years ago, and they were that side of the family was water haulers. They would do pools. They would do anything that needed big water.
But they're
a lot
seasonal.
of a lot of pools. No, they worked around the clock because around the year because there was all sorts.
Biofuel
You-
doesn't
you-
work so good in the winter.
You think about. Well, this is what I was going to tell. What I was going to say, but you think about the wintertime. There's a lot of people that do backyard hockey rinks, and you call up a water truck, and they'll come and drop half their tank.
I got a big hockey rink right off my house.
That's called a lake, Larry. We don't need to bring water in for that.
Just saying.
But I remember my cousins when they started out.
We put the water on top of the ice.
Stop. You punch a hole. All you do is drill a hole and put a submergible pump in there, and you spray the whole thing and get it nice and smooth so I can come out and play goalie.
Yes.
Larry.
You're goalie. All right.
You did? Did you meet me? I'm a little.
no, that's
you didn't
day
realize
one,
I was
man.
A little
Day
off?
one.
I was a little off. Yeah, I'm crazy.
Man of
like
many talents.
So there's a
yeah.
lot going on in Howell Township, from what I hear.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to that. Anyways, they did the biodiesel and they were picking it up from different places around, picking up oil. They would run it through like basically a coffee filter, and then run that diesel in their trucks. And they had to switch fuel filters because it was destroying the fuel. It was so clean, it was destroying their fuel filters. Now I don't know about freezing up, but it was basically cooking oils from a lot of the
Yeah, so
restaurants.
I had this question the other day about making your own fuels, right?
Yeah.
Not legal at all.
I wonder about. Have you ever looked at Brown's gas?
No, I can't
Okay.
say I have.
So that's one of the things I'm doing out there. I'll show you the
Well, I
fire-
shouldn't say it's not legal to make your own fuel. You absolutely can. Driving down a Michigan road to where you would normally pay taxes on that fuel, that's the problem.
Yes, there's some issues there. It's also the number one reason why they got rid of hemp, why they vilified marijuana, because hemp oil is one of the, Henry Ford built a car almost completely out of hemp. Hemp fibers for the doors, stuff like that. The only thing they had was a couple frame rails that were, I think he switched between wood and steel. At the time, they still were using stacked wood. These old Model Ts.
Is that the inspiration for Cheech and Chong's?
Maybe, but the hemp seed oil, phenomenal as a biofuel, and they opted for the much less abundant ethanol
Yeah.
as the
The
alternative.
farce.
Which if you go, I was at my buddy's down there in Indiana, and we're driving back to his house, and we drive by this huge ethanol plant. He just nonchalantly says to me and his future brother-in-law, by like 12 hours is going to be his brother-in-law, but he'd been his friend since high school. He goes, yeah. He goes, you guys do know that that's a 5-mile blast radius if that fucker goes up. And I go, we both looked at him and we go, what? There's a 5-mile blast radius? Not fallout radius, blast radius. If that plant in Indiana explodes, it's 5 miles wiped. We're like, dude, I'm like, how far are you? He goes, I think we're about 8 miles from my house. I'm
No,
like,
man.
dude, that's not cool, man. And that thing, that's not something where, I mean, how much warning do you get? Those are, when something like, it's not a nuclear
When it
thing
goes
where
wrong, it goes wrong quick, right? It's
Exactly.
not a meltdown. It's
I'm like, dude, but biofuels, all that stuff. I love, the hydrogen's a little bit on the scary side, but the other stuff, there's some Brown's gas, there's some other stuff. They used, I'm saying Brown's gas, but there's a biogas that they used even during World War II, where they would have, they called them gasifiers. They would run wood in it and basically char it and then they would char it, burn it, and the gas that would come off was a gas that would immediately run. So they would have, if you look it up, they would have these huge, not huge, but a big container on the front of their tractors or their trucks that was literally, they would, kind of like a coal plant, but using wood. And the gas that was coming off that, the exhaust gas that would go up in our chimneys,
yeah.
that was going right into a modified carburetor, and it was their fuel. And they were trucking down the road. And I'm like, when you start to research that stuff, the amount of things that we've forgotten or the technologies that we've lost. I mean, Tesla had an electric car that they couldn't figure out what he was running on because there were no batteries. but it was an electric car with a huge antenna going up that he was just driving around town. And they're like, what are you doing? Now we got electric cars that, what was the tanker the other day? There was like 2,000, it wasn't Tesla's because he makes them here.
Not familiar with it.
But it was an electric car, and it was on this tanker, and it caught fire. Like you've seen the electric cars catch fire. They just let it burn because they can't stop it.
Right.
It's not fed by oxygen. It just is an electrical chemical burn that just feeds off itself until it melts everything away and exhausts itself. And you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's funny. Most people don't realize the history of the electric car predates the internal combustion engine, right? So we had electric cars before we were running around with internal combustion engines.
And they were good back then. When you do your research and find out the electric cars that they had back before they had the internal combustion, well, I think Diesel and the Diesel brothers came out with something right there when the trains were still running on steam, predominantly on steam. But yeah, the electric cars, they were highly efficient back then, and it got, Rockefeller came in, and we're gonna push for petrol, which there's great applications.
Use this fuel that nobody knows what to do with. It's highly explosive, right?
Dude,
they capitalized.
There's whole articles that I've read in the past where they used to dump the gasoline part
Yeah.
of it in the rivers, and then the kids would be messing around throwing firecrackers or whatever, and they would catch the whole river on fire because they were just dumping it. They dumped gasoline as a byproduct of oil into runoffs, and we go, wow, the stuff that, and then they almost wiped out all the whales throughout the world harvesting oil for lamps. And here we are dumping gasoline and kerosene into our reservoirs because it's useless. You start going down that road and you're like, wow, man. So that brings us to this. There's a lot of regulations and things that have been put into place over the years because of things like this, because of dumping gasoline, dumping kerosene, dumping other, nefarious things in there. And I know I was going to get into that with, it's still a thing with Bob talking about his dog drinking out of the local creek, and he's that's very raw. I get it, but a lot of these regulations are, initially there is some common sense. There is some public safety involved in a lot of regulations. But then you get to a certain point and it's just bloated government, and it's just people trying to control other people using those things that may have come from a good dynamic, a good area.
Good intention, right?
A good intention, And so that leads us to, you move here in 2018, 15 beautiful acres. You're in it's not a cul-de-sac, but it's a non-county road, right?
Yeah, it's a private drive.
Yeah. How many houses back there in the private drive?
So there are 5 houses on our road, 5 residents on our road who own property.
Is there any dynamic? You guys pay part of it, or somebody has a tractor and they kind of clean it?
So our road was put in before there was any requirement by the township to have road maintenance agreement in place or anything like that.
Okay.
So it's to each their own, basically. You take care of your own. If there's something more to be done and you want to plow the road to be able to get out, then that's on you. So it's a unique situation, I would say, but probably the best one to be had, right? Nobody's beyond
100%
responsible for their own property, which is kind of how it should be.
It's kind of how it should be, and you maintain your property. I know there's a lot of places that friends that I've dealt with in the past where somebody's got a back blade on their tractor, and when, and a scoop on the front, and they may trade off who does it, or one guy does it, and then they, the other neighbors, bring him over a meal, or they work together as a community instead of a government thing taking over it.
Right, yeah, because again, that would start out with good intentions for a township to come along and say you got to have a road maintenance agreement, but then at what point does it go too far? At what point does it become overburdensome to the residents?
100%.
Now we're dumping AA on the road every year. That does that really help us get in and out the driveway? Is that the purpose of the driveway? So
right. I live right here. They dumped. So this is Earl Lake, I think it was 10 years ago, they dumped a shit ton of, I want to say calcium chloride,
Right.
which is what we would put in concrete for pouring concrete. They dumped that all along Golf Club here. It went straight in the river, and the next year when it thawed, the dead fish and the stench from that chloride killing off that lake. And that lake's just now, I think, coming back
Really?
from that. Was anybody ever held accountable for that? Was anybody ever? No. They just do that type of shit, and nobody cares.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because there was a drain that was put in within our township, or it hasn't been put in yet. It's going to be cut through multiple parcels of land, and I remember our drain commissioner, I believe, coming in at the time, and I asked the question, is the calcium chloride that's spread on the road going to end up into the aquatic life? Because that drain's going to eventually make its way,
Yep.
I think it was into the Red Cedar, and I believe the comment was, no, it's no harm to the aquatic life. And I thought, really?
And yeah, and how many studies have you done?
So,
We'll keep some residents in as a hostage because of some rare frog or turtle,
right.
And you go, wait a minute, and then the government just comes in and does whatever they want, and they wipe out stuff. I mean, I drove through so it's 3 hours and 15 minutes to drive to where my buddy's at in Indiana. I was paying attention on the road. The amount of, not creeks, that's one thing. The amount of lakes, like small, not even lakes, we would consider a pond, but it's enough to where it's 150 feet on that side of the freeway and 150 feet on that side of the freeway, and we drive through enough time for you to pay attention that you're going over a bridge. And I'm like, I didn't see an inlet or an outlet, so it's not huge. If you've got a lake or a river or something coming in, or a creek coming in that's significant, you see that, and this might just be a retention area or an area that developed as a previous corner of a river that became a kind of a pond, and there's still an inlet and an outlet. I didn't see that on multiple ones, and I thought about it, and I was like, we got this huge ass bridge where we go down into a dip, and then you come up on a hill, and you're back to regular level ground. And I was thinking, man, wouldn't you just fill that whole area in and displace it, or make it two separate little ponds instead of building two huge ass bridges for a north and southbound freeway? You know what I'm saying? And I think about those dynamics as they've done that, where they just filled in. There's a couple places right here in our area where you drive through, and right over there by Howell Township, right there by the fire department and the park and everything like that. And there's this huge swamp on this side, and they got the signs there. It says may flood during heavy rains, because it's a swamp, and they filled it in at one point to run the road, what road is that? Somebody in the chat.
Latson?
No, not Latson. It's further east, Latson. It's the next one.
Argentine?
No, you're think south of Grand River.
Oh,
Door Road.
okay.
It's Door
Yeah,
Road,
yeah.
where Genoa Township is. The
Yeah,
Genoa Township
okay.
Park in there.
I was thinking Osceola, okay.
Yeah. No, I probably said Osceola. I screwed you up. It's my bad. But it's Door Road right there.
Yeah.
And it says may flood over there. So at some point they filled in part of that wetland that naturally floods. And I think if you and I did that, my one neighbor tried to open up the drain here to the swamp next to us. That flows into the pond, that then flows into a drainage, a submerged drainage pipe that goes into this little creek over here that then dumps into Thompson Lake. And I'm like, okay. They tried to open it up to kind of like drain the pond a little bit, or drain the swamp a little bit, and the people blew a gasket over there, because he was trying to sell this one piece of property up front. And it's like, we can't do it, but you can. And that, again, comes back to dealing with this it's rules for you, not for people in government. And when people get a little bit of power, they try to enforce, not only do they not let you go on these rules, but they want to overly enforce them and do this as weaponizing government to use the rules with ambiguous definitions to come after you. So let's dive into this now. You're living on their property, 15 acres. I assume you're transitioning from doing a lot of fabrication in the shops, Novi, Wixom, Detroit. You're master welder. You're in there doing a lot of stuff like that, custom stuff that you can't, really get a computer to do. You're dealing with, probably plans, probably, the
prints and designs
designers
and
are coming
working
in
with engineers.
Yeah, and you've got to literally fabricate and manufacture this custom off. My son worked at one of these shops right here in Howell, and they were doing stuff for automotive, and he would have to make the cart to hold a press, So
Right.
they're making something simple like a pocket door, the track that does a pocket door. Well, the pocket door track comes out extruded aluminum, but then it has to be punched exactly 6 inches with a keyhole punch for a screw to go into to hold it in place. Well, it's $150,000 to make that machine that can punch an 8-inch or 8-foot track simultaneously, all lined up, computer controlled, and he's making the cart that goes underneath it with the casters and all that stuff, and then putting the machine on top of it. You can't really, that's a one-off.
Right.
That's not something you're going to make every day. That's not a vehicle that's going to get, the same vehicle that you're going to churn out 500,000 of these and weld them all together the same way. This is something that's a one-off until they need it again, and they might slightly change the specs. So now it's going to be, and you got to make just the simple cart underneath it. But that cart has all of these prints and dynamics and fabrication elements to it, and you got to work in that, right?
Right.
So you're transitioning. What was the transition from being in that environment in the shops to then doing your own stuff, which most people don't realize how big that industry is of guys either in a small shop or in their own garage, their own pole barn, you may make a part, a fabrication tool that they're going to use and make million parts off of. But you've got to make that part to either stamp or cut or hold a piece so that it can be fabricated. You may have a piece that comes off out of a forge that needs to be then honed, and you got to create the arm that CNC router can come in and cut, and you've just got to simply make that holder for it to do its job, and they'll dial in how that little tool works. Most people out there don't realize how many guys there are out there doing $150,000 job in their shop.
Yeah, they're part of that process, right? I mean, you look around you in any room we're sitting in, any room that any of your viewers are sitting in, it's hard to not see a bent piece of metal, a fabricated part, or maybe it's highly manufactured, but there was something that was behind that, like you said, was one-off.
Yeah.
It was designed or built by a guy perhaps in his garage, and that's, we look at these companies that have come to be the major companies of the world, and so many of them started out in their garage, right?
100%.
There's an importance to that. There's a dynamic to that built this country into what we're in.
Yeah.
So it's funny to see how far we're getting away from that, or maybe how much it's even being criminalized. And it is. It's feeding families. It's feeding industries. It's feeding what we know as the American dream.
100%. Well, it goes back to Lincoln. Lincoln said this country will never fall from within as long as we have the individual businessman. And he said 75% of the men out there own their own business, and the other 25% are working for them in order to save up enough money to start their own business. That was the dynamic. We didn't have these big cities. We didn't have these big industries, whether unionized or not, that you just went to a job and did your thing. These were people that we had to be pioneers. We know how to work on everything, There's a lot of stuff that I can fix, solder in this and fix. I went to school for electrical engineering, so it's like there's a lot of little things I can do, but it's like nowadays they want to make everything so obsolete that you can't fix it, you know? So you're in that industry. You're doing a lot of stuff, like we said, Detroit, Wixom, Novi. You're traveling as you're working a lot of shops. At what point do you decide, you know what, or you get couple side jobs and you think, you know what? These
Yeah,
side
you
jobs are a
know, I
little more-
think, so for me, I had an interest from the beginning. You know, I got into welding because I wanted to build stuff. I wanted to create stuff. The thought of being able to put two pieces of metal together as
Yeah.
a kid was like, it's magical almost. So, along with building a career in that direction, you're also building a hobby for most of us. So,
Do you do artwork?
absolutely,
Awesome.
right? That's the, I
Do you
remember
post any of that? Do you post any of that?
I'm very restrained to post anything anymore.
you
Not
gotta send
only
us-
because of, you know, township
Oh, yeah.
dynamics, but the information that we're giving out today is being soaked up so fast by
100%.
AI.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you have something that's proprietary to you, you know,
Yeah.
you might want to hold on to it or at least pass it on to the right people and not pass it along to the rest of the world.
Right.
Because at some point, it's inevitable that we're going to replace a lot of these hands-on jobs, and I'm like I said, I'm just restrained on what
Okay.
I put out
But
there
that's
for
your artwork,
multiple
so you're-
reasons.
Well, you're going to
so-
show it to me after the show because I want to see
You
some.
bet, you bet, yeah.
Speaking of that, there was a guy. I still need to do some more research on it, but there was a guy that did. Is that some of it?
Yeah, actually, that's
Let me leave it on there and let me give the overhead. You guys can see the over. They can zoom in later. Oh, you got a.
yeah. We did
you got a
a
go-kart?
swing set. Yeah,
a
this
swing set?
go-karts. Kids are into carts.
what's this one?
That's a lawn roller that my kid and I
Nice.
were building during
So
COVID.
it's an import port, so you can either put sand or water or whatever in there.
Yep. We put a big bung in there so we could
Nice.
fill it up with water.
What
That
was
was an air compressor that the motor went bad, and I thought, well, that's perfect.
What's you got a next set of pictures? This is some of
Probably
your fabrication
Yeah,
stuff?
that's some of our shop once we got
Did you
up
ever
and
do
running.
sand rails or dune buggies?
No sand rails or dune buggies. The last few years of my
Well, I
career
see
has
it.
been
I
in
see it. That's a shifter cart, right?
just
Is it a
a
regular
kid
go-kart?
cart,
A kid
basically.
cart.
So they would run a Briggs and Stratton or a Yamaha two-stroke.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I got a power washer out there with the dead parts of the power washer, and it's going to be cheaper for me to like scrap the power washer part, but it's got a gorgeous little Honda on it. And I'm
Oh,
like, I would
perfect.
love to just build a little. My kids get the Gator. My grandkids get the Gator, and I'll jump on the little quad, and they just go up and down the driveway here and create a whole bunch of dust, and my mother-in-law gets annoyed. But I'm like, I would love to do throw that motor on there and do a little shifter cart.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not even a shifter cart, just a little,
Yard cart for 'em,
little
yeah.
yard cart. Okay. All right, we should be good to go. This is something I'm battling with right now. Is the there? Yeah, we're back. Okay. Okay, so you're starting to do this fabrication by out of your shop or out of a shop. At what point do you start doing it out of your 20 by 40 and you're doing your own thing?
Never happened.
You still maintain a day job?
Nope. I'm work for myself, so been doing
Oh,
that
but you
since.
did, but okay. So explain to us. So you've got this 20 by 40 shop on your own 15 acres.
Yep.
You're also doing other stuff in a fabrication shop.
So in, let's see, 2021, 22, started a partnership, did that for a year.
Okay.
You know, left the employment, started a partnership, left that after a year, and then doing it for myself since 23. My wife and I started our own business, and
Okay.
you know, she's real crafty, makes all our apparel, makes
Nice.
she's good on the computer, which
you want-
I was not a computer guy.
Do you want to give the name out? Because it's a pretty kick-ass name.
We can, yeah.
Yeah.
Speakeasy Speed Shop.
Speak Easy Speed Shop. And what would be the primary focus of the Speak Easy Speed Shop?
Primary focus of the Speakeasy Speed Shop was to serve the community's needs, any fabrication needs, and to do it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So
What kind of
as
clients
much
would you
as
A lot of farmers coming in for implements and tools and stuff
so
like
once we got up online and had Google set up,
Yeah.
we would get calls like a lawnmower tractor wheel needed repaired, stuff like that, or needed
Yeah.
a one-off part for a. Remember, we had somebody who owned a driving range, needed something fixed for their golf ball collection
Nice.
mechanism, stuff
Okay,
like that.
simple stuff, yeah.
But we always tried to kind of root into what we loved, which was motorsports.
Okay.
So somebody owns like a 1970s Indy car and needs a control arm made. There's none in existence,
Right,
right? But they
right.
can bring me a print or a drawing, or maybe they have a right side and they need a left side, so that's
Okay.
where we would come into play. So that's certainly what we tried to build our business on, but it's not every day somebody has a 1970s Indy car to restore. So
Dude, that's crazy.
we did a lot. I remember we had one customer who did these big floral blankets for wedding backdrops
Okay.
for pictures.
Okay.
And they had something they bought off Amazon to hang this big, heavy floral blanket on. It was maybe 60, 70 pounds.
And it just wasn't cutting it.
Yeah, it wasn't cutting it.
Yeah.
It was a
Cheap ass Chinese
yes,
junk.
very much so.
Yeah.
So they come to us and they said, "Can you
building a
design
big
something,
custom
build
frame."
something that telescopes out? It can fit in my wife's Cherokee when it's all said and done." And
Yeah.
heck yeah, let's do it. And
that's awesome.
That's what really got us going, was just
Okay.
serving the community.
So
and
you're-
there was a pitfall of it, right? Because people aren't building stuff anymore. And
yeah.
So it was a demand that the community had,
Yeah.
and we
100%.
fit in perfectly
Yeah.
to
Well,
that demand.
Again, people don't know how to fix their own things nowadays. It's a lost art, and it's crazy to me when people go, "You fixed that," and I go, "Yeah, I'm not one of those people that doesn't know how to fix things. Yeah, I'm gonna fix that.
Right. It's a hard habit to get out of. I can tell you that, right?
It is.
It's-
I have to throw shit away periodically. I have to go, you know what? You're dead to me. If I don't throw it away, I was helping my ex-wife move to a different place, and then the kids help them move, and they had 3 tablets. And she's like, "These don't work anymore." I'm like, "Give them to me. I'm at least I'm gonna triple check that they don't work. I'm going to make sure that they're dead before we just pitch them, because I'll rehab that shit."
Oh yeah, I've got a 1990 zero turn that I just can't give up because it's got a 6-foot deck on it,
yeah.
1,000 cc liquid cooled engine, right?
Oh, dude.
And then when I need wheels for it, that exact wheel doesn't exist. So I'm
make
making
it.
bushings and stuff in the garage. So
Dude, that's the way to do it.
That's what drives the demand at a household level too, right?
When I married Tanya, I'm getting to know when we were engaged, I getting to know the whole family, getting to know Dad. I come in here and there's a 1983 Porsche 944.
Oh, cool.
And I said, "What's up with that Porsche? Who owns that?" She goes, "Oh, that's mine. It doesn't run." I goes, "Oh, hell no.
Can't have that.
Can't have that." And I went through. It ended up being 3. There was 2 identical sensors, but in 2 different positions. It was 2 a cam sensor on the flywheel. There was a flywheel sensor and then another cam sensor right next to each other. Both of those went bad, and there was one other thing on the distributor. That's what ended up being bad. But I replaced. It had the old Bosch PCM in there.
Oh yeah.
And there was so it would start up, it would run just fine, and as soon as you hit the accelerator, there was nothing. It wouldn't give you anything. And I'm like, well, maybe it's the fuel pump. The fuel pump's bad. So I messed with the fuel pump. I found out it was those 3 sensors. As soon as I replaced those, ran awesome. And then one day, it had one of the first versions of the delay wipers. So it had the delay, which you didn't have any control over. It was just a delay. It was like,
Yeah.
it didn't matter how much it was raining. That's what you got. Or then it was on slow, and then it was on fast. And it quit. And I'm like, what the hell? And I tried to find that.
Module or the
Yeah, it was the what do you call it? What do you call those big blocks? Anyways,
relay.
the relay. That's exactly. So I'm like, I went online, I'm buying it on eBay. I went through like 3 different relays that said they were the right ones. I plug them in, doesn't work. Plug them in, doesn't work. I take the old relay, I pop it apart, I look at it, and I go, oh, as soon as I popped it apart, I could see the backside where everything was on it. All the solder joints were fatigued from being from 1983.
Right.
So I just went through and I took my soldering irons, resoldered every little joint, made sure that they were clean now and every contact was good, popped it back together, put it in, relay's working perfect. And I'm like, dude, nobody knows how to do that shit anymore.
Right. Right.
You know, they would take it to a dealership and spend $500, $1,000, come back, oh, I don't know what they did.
Boy, there's not to get too far off topic, but there's quite a story behind the development of the time-delayed wiper, right?
That guy, did you watch that?
Yeah, it was that Stroke of
Genius
Flash
with
Stroke
Flash
of
of
Genius.
Genius. Yeah, Flash of Genius with Greg Kinnear.
Okay,
That was the actor, right? Greg Kinnear.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking was it the?
He went bankrupt fighting that.
Oh yeah,
And I loved it was true to his story of being in the courtroom.
bankrupt, divorce, all of it.
All of it. And he walks in and he says, he hands the guy A Tale of Two Cities by Dickinson, the guy on the stand. He goes, oh, all you did was take parts off of a shelf and assemble them in a certain way. You know, he had that fish tank in his garage.
Yeah.
He goes, all you did was take it off of a shelf and put it together in a certain way. It doesn't mean you invented it. He goes, oh, okay. And he hands him A Tale of Two Cities. And he goes, why don't you read that? He goes, is every one of those words in the dictionary? He goes, well, yeah. He goes, but Dickinson assembled this in a specific way using words that are all in the dictionary. He goes, yeah, but this is a unique work that was copyrighted at a certain point. He's like, yeah. He's like, so just because I took multiple parts off the shelf and put them together a certain way doesn't mean that I didn't come up with a unique invention. And then you guys stole it. And it was like, mic drop in the courtroom. I love that one. Dude, that's awesome. So you're doing all this fabrication. You're ramping up. You're doing this. What happens to get you on the radar of somebody in the Howell Township board? What happened to put a little bit of sand? I can't use that analogy.
What got me on the radar? Well, I think if we went back to what we were talking about earlier, I've always tried to be involved in the direction of our country and trying to hold on to these liberties that we all feel like we have.
Are
right?
you on a list?
Yeah, I
Just
might
like
be
Larry?
on a list.
Just like Larry's on a list.
So my face has been recognized at township meetings and things like that over the
right, yeah.
last few
you were helping
years.
out another neighbor coming
Yeah.
to their advocacy.
Yeah,
So you already were a little bit of a burr under the saddle. That's a better example than the sand in the. So a burr under the saddle is a better example. I'll just go with that one.
All right. Yeah, I was a burr on the saddle. Let's say that. So my name was known.
Okay.
So we were running our business. Everything we understood, we actually abided and fulfilled the requirements of our township's at-home occupation ordinance. So
Okay.
we even had a small sign made up that was within the restraints of the ordinance. We put our name out there. We put it on Google. We were getting business. Everything was just cruising along, We were in the direction. If we stayed on that trajectory, we were going to be getting a building within the city limits at some time in the near future, or within the township.
You got to build up somewhere, right?
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. I mean, we weren't ready to go off and dump $3-4 grand a month on overhead to try to start this dream of mine. I couldn't ask that of my family.
No, it's ridiculous.
So we were making headway, and then one day a letter showed up from our township, and I would say everything changed then. So we got a letter stating that we were. Oh heck, I got it right here.
Yeah, I was going to say turn to.
I'll just read it out loud.
Read it, man.
It says this. It says, Mr. Fagan, it is brought to the township's attention that you are operating a business out of your garage at 30 Santa Rosa Drive. Now you all know where I live. So,
You're supposed to black that out for the show.
upon investigating the complaint, including viewing your webpage for Speakeasy Speed Shop, YouTube videos, my hesitation to post things
All
out
right.
there, right?
I'm going to get you back involved. We're going to promote that shit.
That you have posted online and videos of multiple semi-trucks making deliveries to your property, it is clear that this use is not permitted in a single-family residential zoning district. This unpermitted use needs to stop immediately. The township always strives to gain compliance with the township's ordinances willingly from its residents. However, the township will take all actions allowed under the law to gain compliance. I hope these actions will not be necessary. Should you have any questions or wish to discuss, please let me know. Thanks, yours truly, the Township Treasurer.
Township
Oh,
treasurer.
and
The treasurer is
Yeah.
the one sending you this?
that's
Not
the one
the
who
code
sent
enforcer.
me. Oh, under that is the Township Zoning Administrator, so.
Okay. All right.
So a man with multiple roles had interpreted the ordinance that I thought I well knew and decided that I was not in compliance with that ordinance. So,
Which again, that's why we went down that road. A lot of these start in a good place. You got 15 acres and all of a sudden somebody's got heavy equipment running in there, you know, like a Larry. Maybe you got 3 or 4 semi trucks coming in there, a couple excavators, stuff like that. You go, not quite the flavor of the
sure,
community.
you don't want UPS or something starting in a single family residence.
We get that there is, at a certain point, some oversight necessary. This is nitpicky bullshit. You're running stuff either in an offsite shop or you're throwing up I just had to, my account hit a certain point on Rumble that I had to cash out my Rumble account on our podcast the other day. I had to they're sending me notifications saying, you reached a certain level, you need to cash out your account. You're making ad revenue and super chats.
Oh, wow.
You need to cash out. I'm like, okay. Can they legitimately come after me because I'm running a podcast out of my man cave here? Oh, you shake your head, Larry,
Not
but that's
legally.
the same shit
Well-
that they're doing to him.
Well, it is.
Let me.
Because he didn't build a new building on his property and then all of a sudden start doing huge level fabrication and have semi trucks running out of there daily. You're talking about somebody that's doing one-off stuff for individual clients, either at his home or doing hobbies in his home that overlap. And all of a sudden they're sending him a thing saying, you know, they did it to me. I shared this with you before we started the show, that we don't currently pay property tax. All confession out there. We don't currently pay property tax on this property because my father-in-law was a Vietnam veteran, and it is it's a whatever law or however it's on the books that if you're a veteran, you can apply. A lot of veterans don't, but you can apply for it as a retired vet and be exempt from your property tax. So my mother-in-law applied. I didn't even know she did it for the first couple years. All of a sudden, they're coming after me because I'm running my construction business out of the man cave here. And I said, no, I'm not. I run my construction company on a job site and out of my trailer that I pull to the job site, park there, lock it up. Well, you still have I'm like, I have to have my home address, which this is, listed as also under my builder's license. Doesn't mean I'm running my business there's no showroom here. There's no place for clients, even though clients have come here, but the clients came here because this is my man cave. They didn't come here because I could have easily met them downtown in a rented facility. Not doing that. I don't want to do construction that bad.
Yeah, when you register an LLC, you've got to put down an address.
Yeah, put down an address. And they used that, and we ended up spending more on the lawyer that year than we would have spent paying the taxes, and they lost.
Yeah, I ran my trucking company right out of my address in Brighton Township.
You're in violation, Larry.
Criminal.
Criminal.
Yeah.
So that's the type of situation we're dealing with. You're not trying to build a data center on your 15 acres there.
Yeah. And we'll come back to permissive zoning and what the law doesn't say is allowed to be enforceable now by the Michigan Supreme Court. So
Okay.
that's
How long ago did that come into play?
So that was Bloomfield Hills versus Desmond, and that was probably about over 2 years ago. And it was actually a pet chicken case. So,
Oh, I remember that.
yeah,
What
yeah,
happened in this case?
huge precedent.
She had just a couple of chickens.
As
and
pets,
they
didn't try to run them as the Fair Farming Act or right to farm. They were just pets, and the township did not have an ordinance against it. They did not have an ordinance that said you
Right.
cannot have pet chickens, basically.
And
as I
somebody
understand
got a
it.
bug up their ass and came after her. I remember, and they wanted to
The attorney neighbor, specifically.
right?
Yeah,
She
yep.
probably had a rooster. I got my 8 chickens.
Yeah, I've actually talked to these folks. So it was kind of similar, right? It went back and forth between this young couple and the township.
Get their information to Larry and get them booked for the show.
Okay. Yeah, that
That'd
would
be
be
awesome.
interesting. They're a couple years out of this, and it wore them out.
Oh,
And
it does.
I mean,
It does, and you almost become, as I'm thinking about it, and you're talking about this, you become a jailhouse lawyer, to where because of the necessity of it, because of the onslaught of the lawfare that comes at you, you get to a point where you have to study the law for yourself, and you become your own advocate. And I think we've got some good friends that are lawyers that have been part of the show, but I think that dynamic of deferring to lawyers and paying exorbitant amounts of money is lost on us to walk in, and we're going to get into that in your case, where you walk in representing yourself and mop the floor with them because you're on the right, and you've studied it, and you've assessed it and go, this is not, and the judge goes, yeah, what the hell are we doing here? You know, so you get this ordinance, this paperwork.
yeah, so,
What's your first response? to
First
this bullshit?
response was call the supervisor, because we've been down this road before.
Yeah.
So, there was animosity going on our little private road, and one day I had been to the township, made a comment, a call to the public, and the next day I get a code enforcement officer shows up
quite
at
literally
my
the
door.
next day?
Yeah, it was like this was on a Tuesday,
36
and the guy
hours?
showed up before the end of the week. Wrote us a
Wow.
ticket for a trailer in our driveway that I was changing wheels on, right? I had wheels off to go get new tires on this car trailer. Wrote us a ticket for that, and I had a old pickup sitting in the front. Again, 15 acres. I didn't even think anything of it at the time.
That's
I didn't know I
ridiculous.
was in violation, right? So I called the supervisor at that time, told him what was going on. He says, no problem, just if the trailer's gonna move, if you could put the truck out back, I'll just let the zoning administrator know, and we can wipe the ticket away. And I'm
Did
like,
they?
Yep. It
Okay.
was
Okay.
a non-issue after that, and I'm
Okay.
like, happy to deal with it, right, and get
Like
you
I
all
told
off
you
my
about my-
back. But I thought,
Yeah.
you sons of guns, I come to the township
You
and
stirred the hornet
and,
nest, and they tried to sting you.
and voiced my opinion, and now here the zoning enforcement officer is writing me a ticket. What a coincidence. So,
Right?
First-
It doesn't-
first,
doesn't-
and that
I mean,
to-
don't you want to call people out on that immediately and go, you son of a bitch?
yeah, you do.
I came in and advocated for a neighbor. I think that was the scenario, right?
Yeah.
And the next, or within a few days before the end of the week, on a Tuesday before the end of the week, there's a code enforcer showing up at my door. That's the type of shit that I want to go off. I want to just lay into people, man, and that's part of the reason I like to do the show. It's like every once in a while I just go, are you kidding me? I come in and advocate for somebody on a position, and you used your position to try and screw me over? I dropped some heavy-duty F-bombs at that
Yeah, I
point. I'm
remember
like,
saying something along the lines of, I'm pretty sure y'all are messing with me because of the road I live on. And I was told, well, yeah, it's obvious that there's conflict on your road, so that's why you're dealing with us. And I'm like, that's not mine. I'm not. So,
Right.
whatever. We moved on. So,
Okay.
to that reason is why that was my first step of action in this case. Many years later down the road, this is probably, over 4 years after that little incident, I get this letter about running a illegal business
Okay.
out of my garage. And so I
This
called
is
the
20
supervisor.
This is 22?
This was 24, the
24.
business.
Okay.
The previous incident was during
20
COVID, actually.
Okay.
So, and I remember because we had the the township had hired a third-party code enforcement officer, and he come banging on my door in the first few months of COVID, no mask on or anything, and I'm like, "You monster, right?" And just
Oh, yeah.
'cause nobody knew what was going on, but
Did you ask him? Did you ask him like?
so
South
where's
Park?
your mask at, man?
You
And
South
he's-
Park. You go. Could you put your face diaper back on, please?
He says, "You're not wearing one." I'm like, "It's my fucking house." Excuse me.
No. We have an F-bomb on
Oh,
the show
okay.
right here. You just dropped the F-bomb.
All right.
We'll take that.
Good deal. Hey, I can make you some of these.
Dude.
Oh, dude, we got a plasma table. We can cut you out hundreds.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Can we, do you have a inscriber?
We got a laser engraver too, yeah.
Dude, I want a whole bunch that have, this is my brain with the F-bomb.
All right, dude.
We actually, my son and I, Taylor, Vincent, we're working on a game. I don't want to give away because someone will take my ideas, but it's literally like, not quite lawn darts. There's some dynamics to it, but it's literally where you're dropping an F-bomb, and you got to drop the F-bomb a certain way, and then we have S-bombs too, which are less points. But we're like, dude, we got to figure out how to do the F-bombs. And
I'll drop one for my wife real quick.
Right.
She's got this game she come up with. It's
Yeah.
like flip the cone. It's like a tailgate game.
Okay.
It's a stack of cones and trying to flip them onto the next cone. It's
Oh,
awesome.
nice,
Never caught on, but maybe now's the time.
dude. I got a stack of cones because when we have big parties here, my mother-in-law, she's like, I don't want to parking on this part of the lawn where she mows the lawn. I change the blades. I change the oil. I do like the major maintenance on the mower. But that's her mower.
Right.
I've never mowed the lawn here in 10 years. I'm not allowed. She's like, she
Don't
mows.
let your township find out.
Dude, I have pictures of her in her little babushka hat, her little, one of those nice fur hats with the flaps that come down, and out there mowing in like November. Because she's like, I got one more mowing to do. I'm like, all right, do what you got to do.
My daughter does the mowing at the oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does. They have a zero turn.
Yeah.
And she does all the mowing, and it's like, get out of my way. It's my
Dude.
job. I'm doing it.
Exactly. There's certain jobs I go, it's not my job. And then
Yeah.
other stuff where I go, yeah.
My house, I mow the lawn.
Well,
I plow the snow.
that's because Darla's in there making you a meatloaf, dude.
Oh, I tell you, she's a good cook.
She's awesome.
Darla, yep, she's a good woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got lucky there.
So, you get this letter. You're doing
Call
a
the
bunch of other stuff. You're doing
supervisor.
all this stuff. They go, yeah, no big deal. You're just doing.
Yeah, so it was
then
it
what-
was quite a conversation. I'd like to hit on it a little bit with the supervisor because
Get
he's
that damn stink bug off your shoulder first. I hate those
shit.
fuckers coming in here. See, now I'm cussing. I hate them, dude.
so
Because they come in and they land right in your face and they look at you. And I go, you little sumbitch. I can't kill you because you'll stink up the place.
exactly send him down the toilet's about all you can do.
Dude. What? Why? Why do you didn't share that with the audience? Listen, what Larry just shared with me was some nasty shit.
Did you see that?
No,
Would you
I don't-
agree? Would you agree, Shane? That's some
Look in her head there. Watch the horse.
some nasty shit. So you in the audience, you're deprived of Larry's. This is what
Jeez.
Larry does.
All right, I'm going home.
You're gonna end up being.
Conversation always turns to shit, you know.
There you
That's
go, Jeremy. I just sent it to you in case you wanted to share it with anybody. But
He's affectionately called our fucking Larry because he does that stuff. Yeah. So, all right. So you're dealing with, you have a little run-in,
Yep.
and it kind of...
Yeah, it escalates. I just wanna
oils
say-
the skids for the next one coming up.
I remember the conversation with the supervisor. As I said, I kind of had the same fallback as I'm going to call the supervisor, find out what's going on because he's the man who should know what's going on, right?
Right.
And I said, I know that we have a home occupation ordinance that I allowed to run a business. He says, yeah, that's right. I said, okay.
Especially given the lockdown bullshit.
Well, this was fast forward. We're in 2024 now. We're dealing with business.
But that
oh yeah,
set
yeah.
a precedent.
Like we were all working from home 4 years ago. It was okay, right? Were you going to come down on somebody then?
I had so I was doing some big subcontracting, and I had the contractors immediately call me. It was like a Tuesday, right, when everything shut down. And we're on 96 heading to West Bloomfield. We're on a couple $1 million home. You know, we're doing a bunch of remodeling on it, putting an elevator in it, doing shit like that. And we're halfway there, and we're listening to the radio. We're like, there's nobody on the freeway. This is weird. I got my truck, my trailer. I got me and 4 guys in my truck. We're heading to a job site. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, the president's issue that, or not president, but the governor shut us down and like that. And we're like,
what's that mean?
We're like, so I think we hit, what's just past the toilet bowl there, what's the next one? Not Pleasant Valley. That's before.
Kent Lake.
No, way past. Past the toilet bowl. Past 5 and 96 going south.
Oh, yeah,
what's the
don't
next
go that
exit
far.
there? Is anyways, the next exit just before you get to the 696 interchange. The big one between 696 and the 596. And we're right there, and I pull off the expressway, and I got the trailer. This is not an easy. This is not huge. I'm not driving a semi truck, but I'm like, I'm gonna pull off and I'm gonna park for a minute, and I'm like, what are we doing? And we end up. I was like, all right, we're sorry guys, we're gonna go back home and figure out what's going on. And within 24 hours, I get a letter from the law office, from my contractors that I was working off of, saying that we were essential according to the governor's mandate, and we were allowed to go back to the job sites and work because the 2 residents we were working on doing construction, doing framing, were technically homes that were lived in, even though both residents had actually, were in other homes while we were doing the work. But either way, because they were primary residents of these people, we were allowed to continue doing work, remodeling work, to get them in, so that they could get back to living fully in their homes. And I was like, I got your letter, but my guys a couple of my guys are freaked out. They don't know what's going on. In fact, my superintendent at the time, he didn't know it was, he's like, my wife's freaked out. And so my guys took a month. I built that drum booth here in the man cave back when it was.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I built the drum booth. I got photos. I was like, I took the next month, and I was hitting the Home Depot. You couldn't go down the paint aisle. You couldn't go down the seed aisle and get anything for your garden.
Yeah, that was another stupid.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember
dumb
areas
that
being
was some-
taped off,
yeah.
and
Yeah, it was
I remember
so-
going to Rural King.
It was
and-
ridiculous.
And not
dude.
being able to. It's like, I'm off work. I'm gonna paint my house.
where was the No Kings protest then?
Right? No queens here in our state.
Yeah.
And
Well, Democrats weren't worried about the Constitution then.
correct. I do appreciate, we're going to talk about that on Tuesday, the No Kings. We're going to really dive into that. I do appreciate President Trump coming out once again and saying how thankful he is that
I think at Halloween.
that No Kings were truly threatening his duly elected presidency, and that all these protesters were doing a valiant job of upholding the fact that no kings were allowed to usurp his constitutional and duly elected position
I
as president of the
especially
United
like the
States.
guy in Howell that had the sign with the noose and the Trump tie hanging.
Don't you
from
like
it.
that?
Yeah, I thought that was.
It's
real-
ki-
that's not inciting. That's not
No,
calling
it's
for
not
violence.
No. It's not like Bubba Wallace, who barely looks black, saying that the little pull-down string in his garage there at NASCAR
Yeah.
looked like a noose, and therefore they had 19 FBI agents come in and investigate
And it was a pull down string on the.
the
garage
pull-down
door.
string.
Holy cow! I didn't know FBI had jurisdiction. NASCAR is.
I think they came in.
Well, I mean, they got jurisdiction everywhere.
It was
but
a racial thing. Maybe it was like that. I literally had a buddy that is part of he's with Cadillac now. I haven't talked to him in a couple months, but Cadillac he was back with Corvette then. So he's on the Cadillac racing team.
I bet I know that guy.
I'll say his name off there.
Yeah.
But he's like, we used that garage when we were doing, so they don't do NASCAR. What's the other races?
IMSA.
IMSA, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's just the pull down knot. It's just the knot on the pull down string. He goes, that guy's so full of shit. And it was a publicity stunt, just like Jussie Smollett saying guys were out there in Sub-Zero on the streets of Chicago. We're going to get this MAGA country. And then they find out they've given him a $5,000 check. It's all bullshit.
So
It's all made up
are
stuff.
you into hot rods at all, or?
So it's funny. I get that question a lot. I am into race cars. I'm not a hot rod muscle car guy. I like them. I appreciate them, but
Right.
the
You like
value
the race
I
cars?
see in race cars is
Yeah.
that we have to build them because the production cars aren't good enough, right? And that's
correct.
kind of where my head's at. And
yeah.
I like the
Do you know the
the black and white. Like
know
it's
the
either
name?
right or it's wrong, and there's a reason for everything on a race car. And
Do you know the name Mike Moran?
yeah. Why do I know that?
Are you saying
Ren?
names on air, Larry?
Uh-oh.
Did you just give a
Moran
disclaimer?
Motorsports down in
Yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah, I got buddy who worked for him for many years.
He's a good friend of mine.
Okay, very cool.
I helped him. He built a Pinto station wagon a number of years ago. Had a small block Ford in it that was punching out. I'm not going to give out the cubic inch because it was always a secret, but he had a lot of cubic inch. In
It was
the
way
little-
above a 351 Windsor. It's probably a 427? 3. He's not gonna commit to it.
I am not going to commit
You know,
to it.
my first vehicle that
but the
I
car
ever
ran 830s on the street.
what
830s on the street.
dude. I
If I had a VHS
Now we're getting
player,
excited.
I could bring in. I could
a
bring in.
VHS player.
Yeah, if I had a VHS player, I could bring in. The
Can you
tapes.
transfer it to a floppy disk? That would be easier for me to play.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Floppy disk.
Yeah, how do you do that anymore? But I do have.
Listen,
a
take your
VHS
Super
player.
8s and transfer them to a Blu-ray.
I have those too, by the way.
Those are badass.
Yeah,
When you
Super
transfer
8s.
the old Super 8s to,
Yes.
dude, that's what that is. That black box right there,
Yeah.
that's a Super 8.
Is it?
We found it in the basement of the house. My mother-in-law was like, "What the hell is this? What is this thing?" I was like, "Oh hell no!" At a certain point, that will be like part of the display in the man cave. But that's a Super 8.
Yeah, I've got a projector.
that-
I've got the projector at home, but the bulb is no good.
My bulb in here is awesome, dude. But literally, this box
But
is, if I can open it, look at.
Oh, cool.
Check that shit out, dude. I love it, dude. Full blown, dude. Super 8s.
it's probably Super 8s of your wife when she was growing up.
No, it's my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
It's that old. It's my mother-in-law's stuff. Look at that. That splice came apart. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I had a buddy
that's easy.
I had a buddy that worked at the Riff
That's what I
years ago, and I would go in and help him.
See, I went to
splice
school
old
for
tape.
Oh, really?
Not
Yeah.
videotape, but audio tape for his show. Yeah, that's crazy stuff, dude.
Yeah, I used to edit video like that all the time. I went to school for it.
Yeah.
That's the first CNC machines ran on a tape like
They
that,
did.
you know?
I know that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You know why I know that? Because my dad owned a machine shop and I grew up in it.
Oh, very
Nice.
cool.
By the time I graduated high school, I was out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me.
Dude, I got the same. So that's
So and what's a bummer is it broke my dad's heart because he wanted me to
Follow in
continue
his footsteps.
business,
yeah.
but I can't work inside. I just can't.
You're an outside guy.
Yeah.
You like to watch the crash
Yeah.
as a trucker.
Yeah.
He calls me a lot during the week, but one of the coolest calls that I get per week, not because of what's happening, but because Larry's like, "Oh, I just saw a big accident, buddy. Oh man, that looks bad." I go, all right, dude. Fishing with MC. The current topic, we're talking about Shane's, Sean.
Shane, you got
Sean,
it.
Shane.
Shane.
Why this is my first time
Lot of
drinking my
Shanes.
Distro. We were talking about his lawsuit ultimately, but we're getting to know the man because.
Well, not my lawsuit, the township's lawsuit.
Yes, but getting to know
Or
you.
should we say the township's failed lawsuit?
Failed lawsuit, but I want to have it's a Sunday night conversation, so I want to have a conversation that leads us to understanding the dynamics, not just going,
Yeah.
these stupid ass MFers pulled this shit using weaponized governmental lawfare to pull a bunch of stuff, and yet
And wasted $32,000 or more
to this point,
of taxpayer dollars
yeah, which is ridiculous.
for a $100 fine ticket.
Yeah, and what do they prevail in? What do they gain?
Absolutely nothing.
As of us putting out this, you don't gain public appreciation for what you did. You're going to gain a little bit of public, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Maybe they'll gain a recall.
You know, I tell you what, you said something to me, and I don't know where this fits in the course of the conversation, but you said something to me. You walked into a meeting, and you were newly elected as a trustee, and you said, I'm involved in this lawsuit. I recuse myself from this because I don't want to, because of my newly appointed position, or newly elected position, not appointed, sorry, a newly elected position. I don't want to have any sense of impropriety in walking into this. And yet two of the other people directly involved in the initiation of the lawsuit sit there on their false fucking high moral ground, go into closed session and discuss this thing that you're involved in. Yet you go, I'm going to recuse myself. Not because there was any pressure of you, not because there was anything that you felt exterior, but because your own moral compass, you said, I'm going to take a step back and let this play out the way that it's going to play out, and I'll address it on the other side.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, the people who voted for me deserve a fair shake. They deserve a legislative body that's
Right.
unbiased, not one that has who's involved in the middle of a case, right? But that's not what they got. Regardless of me recusing myself and
Right.
abstaining from voting, they still got a very biased direction given. So,
Shouldn't it? I think about this. This is totally other stuff, and I'm
in
not
my
gonna-
opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. But I think about this. I was listening to some different podcasts. I have to disconnect and listen to other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about this, that 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, when the Bible was being written down, there was this huge oral tradition that existed. And so I listened to some of these podcasts, and they're like, oh, the Bible's, the one I was listening to today is 10 Commandments has a pagan origin. And they discount completely the fact that written language came much later than oral history. And oral history was number one. It wasn't like today where we can do the telephone game, where you get a line of 10 kids and you tell the first kid something and they repeat it to the next kid and repeat it to the next kid. And by the time you get to the end, it can change dramatically what the first kid was told. Because kids are used to looking at phones, and even before phones, I was in high school, we don't have that same retention. When you don't have written language and your history is all oral, like the original Native Americans here throughout the Americas, they didn't miss a word. They didn't distort it for their own agenda. The chief of the tribe said this, and you recorded it in your mind exactly the way he said it so you could pass it along. So maybe 100, 200 years down the road, when it was actually written down, it was written down word for word exactly the way somebody heard it 200, 300 years before that. And I look at these dynamics and I think, we've lost so much of that connection with each other to be able to communicate oral histories. We write things down and it's a rule on a piece of paper, but the intent, the dynamics behind it is missing. The concepts of connecting with the constituency, and being able to communicate them, we lose that. We're going to go in a closed session. We're going to talk behind the things. What does it mean to have a representative republic and somebody being there to represent me and represent the best of my interests? And you get thrown into the mix of this dynamic, and you're like, you're not representing the community. You've got a little agenda on the side to fit your own means. And I think of how abhorrent, granted, not saying our founding fathers were perfect people, but I think about these dynamics of, wait a minute, they're relying on this ambiguous written rule without engaging in a connection with you, let alone the community, to find out how many other people in your little 5 houses down there are bothered by this other than one person.
How many people are benefiting from it?
How many people are benefiting?
How many that was
100%.
never answered.
What's the environmental impact of you changing tires on a truck in your front yard? You know? And we lose this sense of community and this sense of connection, realizing that all of our ancestral dynamics are true tradition. That idea of, when you look up that word tradition, it means to literally trade. And I'm literally giving you, so the elders would give the youth their knowledge and their experience, and in response, the youth would be out there hunting and gathering and taking care of the community. And then they would sit around the grandfathers and mothers and hear their stories while they went out and did the labor of hunting and gathering every day, because they hunted and gathered before. And they, I remember my grandfather telling me stories when we're out fishing in the UP, and he's like, this is one of the things you need to be aware of, because a bear could start following you, or you could have this situation, you have that situation, My uncle telling me, he's like, yeah, we found a fawn, kind of nestled over here by a tree, and we're curious, we're kids, when he was young, he's like, it's a fawn. We're like, oh, that's beautiful. There's a little fawn sitting there and like this. And all of a sudden this big doe is coming charging at them, going to take them out because you're messing with their baby. You figure that shit out real quick, how you need to maintain your space and how you need to operate. And these little dynamics, and people don't gather this stuff. And then we don't translate it back into going, I need to connect with somebody. Somebody should have walked over and said, hey, dude, what do you, what's going on? Not accusatory, not trying to enforce a little rule and control you, but saying, what do you think you're going to do here? Develop community.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm proud of what I do. Right. I would have been happy to. You want to come over, see what's going on? I'll open my door to you.
Dude.
And then it just never happened.
Yeah.
Never frickin' happened.
And that's the breakdown. That to me, beyond all the lawsuit, everything else, is the true breakdown. Is we didn't form community. When I'm not a great neighborly person. When my neighbors come over to meet me, I'm open arms. I'm welcome. But for me to be the person that initiates that neighborly, I got this going on. I got that going on. I don't go out of my way to connect with my neighbors. But when my neighbors connect with me, I embrace them 100%. So does that make me a bad neighbor? I don't know. This neighbor I think I told you about, newest neighbors, phenomenal. Comes over to watch football with me, She cooks. He comes over, he's like, is there anything I can bring? The neighbor up front, I've only met them a couple times. Package delivered wrongly on my property. I walk over and I knock on the door. Hey, this was delivered to our house. And great connection. But we've never hung out. But that's cool. I've met him. If there's a conflict of any kind, I guarantee I'm going to be able to walk over there, or I will make the effort to walk over there. I don't understand that dynamics. When I lived up north years ago and they would call the police on me because my band was playing a little too loud after 9 o'clock, because that was our ordinance. I go, dude, I wasn't paying attention to the clock. I was paying attention to, we were jamming. We were having a good time. Send me a text. I know it's out of your comfort zone to do that, but come to me. Come talk to me. I think that out of this whole story, that's one of the things that bothers me more than anything is that lack of, I come from a scriptural dynamic. You got a problem with your brother, you go to him one-on-one. If he doesn't listen, you take a friend because your friend's going to tell you you're kind of being a dick.
Did your friend tell you that you're running a Tuesday scroll on a Sunday show?
I don't give a shit. I do, but I didn't click on it.
I did forget to tell you.
Yeah, I didn't click on it. I got these stupid fruit. My one grandson had a birthday party. Bubby had a birthday party on Saturday.
Yeah.
And they made fruit pizza. And I've had these little fucking fruit flies flying around here ever since. It's not on him. I'm not going to ascribe it to him. But I hate fucking fruit flies. You did the fruit flies as much as the stink bugs? I'm like, oh. Just a little shit. Because you're right here and you're like, oh. Anyways. So that's the dynamics that bother me on this more than anything. You've had to battle and labor through the legalities of it. But at the core of it, it's a lack of connection with another human being. And I think that's what eats at my core. Yeah, we can sit there and legislate this and do all this stuff, but somebody didn't have enough. I look at it from this point. They didn't have enough moral integrity or true humanity to come and talk to you as a man, providing for his family. They chose to hide behind a fucking ordinance. And that's what bothers me more than anything is wait. I don't give a shit what this says or what that says. You couldn't walk across the street and say you had a problem with me because I backed one of my other neighbors on something that you were on the opposite side of the issue. No, we need to talk this out as men. And we may walk away still disagreeing. But don't hide behind a fucking ordinance and tell me that somehow I'm wrong because I'm doing what's best for my family and I am in compliance with it as the judge ultimately adjudicated, and the township spent $30,000+ on lawyers' fees while you represented yourself, took time out of your life and put forth the effort, and somebody's going to be a fucking weasel behind the scenes. I don't think you need to, I didn't like the way he had it. I saw a Ryder truck pull up there that had an Amazon sticker on the side, and I didn't like that. And you fucking little weasel. I hate that shit. I think that's so, you got a problem with me, walk up to me as a man. That shit doesn't fly. And we don't have to go to blows. We don't have to, fight it out, duke it out. We can talk.
Sounds like it was somebody just looking for payback.
It does. And it pisses me off because, as Shakespeare said, one may smile and be an enemy. Somebody will smile in your face. Oh, no, I was just trying to get to the best thing and try to bring resolution to the situation. But behind the scenes, I was fucking everything up for my own personal agenda because that guy did me wrong. Well, get over your fucking ego. Be a real man. Honor that person. Maybe take a little bit of introspective moment and figure out that maybe you're wrong. I've been accused a few times in the past, oh, you always think you're right. No, I don't always think I'm right. I sit down, I lay down on my head in my bed, my pillow at night, and I go, did I mess that up? Did I make a mistake? Should I have been more accommodating? Should I have been more loving? Should I have realized their side? Should I have considered their heart in this? Could I have overstepped my place? Did I do the right thing?
That's your accountability.
That's my
right?
accountability. And the vast majority of people don't have any introspection. They don't have any assessment of their own actions. They just want to point the finger and say, I don't like what you're doing. Well, you've never taken the time to figure out whether you like what you're doing. And if you did, and you were on the other side of the coin and received the same shit that you're doing to me, you'd be pissed off just like I am.
So you only been to court over this twice?
There was 3 hearings at the district level, and then it went on after that. After a decision was made there, it was appealed to the circuit level. So this recently, just last week,
Yeah.
or within this last week, was the 4th time I've been to court over this. But I had
Where was that at?
Livingston County.
Livingston County.
And how did that prevail?
Has it been the same judge the whole time?
So the district court was the district level judge, and the circuit court was a circuit court judge. So
And that
I
was-
gotta tell you, I was just nervous as could be before going to court on how the court would side. I felt like there was going to be this just overwhelming siding with the township, because that's typically how you see the outcomes, right?
Some good old boy stuff going on.
And I had my day in court, and I was given the utmost respect.
That's awesome.
And it went exactly as it should.
That's
It
awesome.
was amazing. It was amazing.
And I say that with all
gotta-
due respect, because we know, of course, we know from the show, and personally, we know Carolyn Henry, we know Sheriff Murphy, we know a lot of people. And I don't say good old boys in the absolute ultimate insider, they always back each other up. But the prosecuting attorney, the sheriffs, they do have to work directly with the judges to do the best. And we've got great ones here. We've got a great attorney general, or whatever you call her.
Yeah, prosecuting attorney.
Prosecuting attorney. Not, I was trying to think of the county terminology for
Our
it.
attorney general ain't so great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a great attorney general.
No, she's a piece of shit.
She's really busy right now.
Which
I
is-
think
she-
30 lawsuits into the
Yeah.
president.
Yeah, and everybody should remember in chat, please, when you're talking about Michigan's Attorney General Dana Nessel,
Do
don't-
not.
do not use
Do
terms
not.
like carpet muncher or dyke
Or scissor sister.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that
I
language
don't.
on
That
our
is
show.
that is
That
highly offensive, and we do not in any way approve of that here on the show. Those terms,
Yeah,
we
that's-
have to use the term side cutters now,
we
just
will
because
we will
we
ban
want.
you from chat.
We
if you
do
use
not
those
accept dykes or other terminology being used in this show.
and that's,
it
that's
bothers
the
us.
thing. Dykes are a very handy tool.
But we have to call them side cutters now because we do not want to be offensive in any way, shape, or
they're
form.
a tool. They're a very
no matter,
important tool.
No matter how
You know how
useful
handy a
a
good set of
tool they
dikes
may
is?
be,
You keep your dikes oiled and clean.
it's listen. We're done with this.
Yeah, let's move on.
We gave our disclaimer. We said how much we don't want to engage in that type of slander and
Yes.
disreputable. It's like when you bring up illicit slut. I don't even know how to say her name anymore.
Slobskin.
Okay, there. Thank you. So you had to deal with this. This is what we do. Yeah. No. So no, we don't use the term. See, you even told them not to use these terms. Carpet munchers. We do not use those terms. You guys, listen, guys, keep it above the belt.
You never know what
I'm reading
people
chat.
in chat
Dude,
are gonna
they go
say.
crazy in
That's
the
why.
chat.
That's why I say that. Don't use those.
Don't use those terms. So, multiple times going to court, but you tried to do some negotiations with these people, and they wanted some outrageous bullshit. They wanted you to agree to not only a bunch of stuff that was way beyond any ordinance, but they wanted you to agree to, if they prevailed and you somehow started your business back up and tried to provide for your family on your 15-acre parcel by doing things that people wanted you to do that you were independently contracted to do, that they could sue you and you'd have to pay the lawyer's fee.
Yeah, that was the negotiations that were going on, and as a self-represented litigant, I mean, I think most would understand why I'm a little hesitant to sign something like that, right?
Dude.
I was born at night, but not last night, as they say.
Correct,
So,
right?
I just didn't have a good feeling signing away the rights that I felt like I had, and in those negotiations, the ambiguity came out. It was obvious.
Larry's still wound up with chat. Talking about Snap-on tools.
So I'll bring you back. I want to bring
Yeah.
us back to this. So
Get us back. Get us back on
Yep,
track.
let me get you on
Come on.
track. So this violation notice, there's one thing that really jumped out to me that said there's something sinister going on here. And if you remember, as I read, they said the videos of multiple semis making deliveries to your property. And I thought, who the hell would submit videos of semis delivered to the property? And this goes back to the conversation I had with the supervisor. I said, is it against the ordinance to have semi-deliveries? He says, well, no. I said, okay, what's the frickin' problem then? You know, on 15 acres, there's a turnaround.
Right.
If that's against the ordinance, let me know.
I've had
He
multiple.
says, well, maybe you can go pick up your material if that. And I said, again, is it against the ordinance? He says, well, no. So, all right, well, I guess we're done talking about this. So
I've had multiple semi deliveries here. I don't feel like hauling home a 16-foot 6x6 to make a retention wall back here.
Right. Home Depot will deliver. You order something big enough on Amazon, it's coming on freight.
100%.
So
What's the problem?
what's the problem?
You had multiple.
And remind you, it was
Yes.
on my driveway.
Multiple means
I
more
own
than
that
one.
driveway in front of my house. The county doesn't come in and plow it. Nobody plows it. We don't have a road maintenance agreement.
You're one of those guys.
So
one of those
yeah.
constitutional guys. How
Yeah,
dare
shame
he's
on
on a
him.
list like you.
Probably.
Get to this. What have we got in this?
so
Did the Democrats tell you that they hate you?
So I
Stop
did,
saying the Democrats.
in addition to calling the supervisor, I went to a township meeting. I gave him a what have you. You know, I know what our ordinance is. How dare you folks try to shut down my business that feeds my family, feeds my community.
100%.
We're sponsoring baseball teams in our
Yeah.
first year of business. We're feeding the community.
Hell
We're
yeah.
doing our part. And how dare you come in and do this? And then in addition to that, I did a FOIA because I said, where's this information? Where's these complaints coming from?
Where are
'Cause
the
I need
videos?
to,
I want them
if there's
submitted.
a problem, I
Yeah.
need to know what the problem is, and I want to address it. So here's my response to my FOIA. This letter is in response to your FOIA request. We are able to approve your request in partial as we are not in possession of the videos. Since your request could not be approved in full, you do have the right to appeal the denied item. So all of a sudden,
Wait. You got the right to appeal something that they acknowledge was filed on speculation of proposed videos that they never actually were in possession of.
Right.
You never actually got the videos. But, Mr. Fagan, we're going to let you go ahead and appeal something that we took on assumption and came after you with a full force of law.
I think they're just informing him of his rights because when you have a denial of a FOIA like that, no matter what reason the denial is, here the denial is because they allege that they don't have them, right? That's what they're claiming.
I want them to say in that they never got the information and they believed somebody that they never vetted, that never produced the evidence.
Well, that's basically.
well, again, an interpretation of a video that you can't reproduce.
Yeah, well, that's
Right.
I mean, what was in the video then? Because you
I
issued a ticket.
videotaped you the other day and I saw you kill your wife and bury her in the backyard. That doesn't hold up in court if you can't produce the video or the body. That's
right.
called habeas corpus. Produce the body. Not just for people being in prison.
Oh, that's not necessarily true.
Larry.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's not necessarily true anymore.
This
So-
is Shane, for those of you in chat. This is Shane.
So the video didn't exist.
Bob did not make it tonight. Yeah. No, shut up. No, thank you, Tim, for clarifying. This is Shane. He's telling a story. All right, walk us down this line. So these they're going to grant you the right
Now they're
to
talking about Peterbilt's.
stop. That's the only one
Peterbilt's
you. Is that the one
Snap-on
you
tools.
chimed into?
Peterbilt, Snap-on tools,
Uh,
Dykes.
so they sent you this letter. This is the one you read earlier was from a while ago.
Yeah.
This is dealing with the latest stuff. You're running a business out of your home, which is you researched this. You figured this out and said this is I'm well within my rights. Oh, but somebody said they got a video of you having multiple trucks delivered to your residence. Well, I got UPS, fucking FedEx showing up my property on almost a daily basis because between my mother-in-law and my wife and me buying new equipment for the show, we got stuff showing up on a daily basis, let alone USPS that can't fit it in the mailbox, drops off my house. Right. Cite an ordinance and find me and tell me I can't do shit. What were they ultimately asking for? Asking you to pay $100 and stop doing what you're doing?
So that's.
I want to know
It begs a question, right? Like, I don't know I don't know how I'm supposed to
what
stop
the remedy
even.
is.
I
What's the
don't
remedy?
even know what the remedy is because, again, this is my hobby.
Yeah.
I could not open my door anymore.
That's part of it, right?
Right.
You had your garage door partially opened. You got probably a 12-foot door.
Yeah, well, not even. It's an 8-foot
Is that
door.
behind? Is
not
that
even.
like behind your house? You got like a pole barn or something behind?
No,
you?
this is attached.
They're talking about
this
the
is attached garage.
An attached garage. So you were
it's
like
attached.
tinkering around.
You could
in
probably
your
go right in
garage,
and take a piss if you wanted
halfway
to.
up, and they melted down.
Yep. So, I mean, and this is what I told the courts. I said, it seems to be a farce because those who live in Michigan know there's only so many days of the year we could have a garage door open, if it's weather permitting, mosquitoes permitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a constant thing.
Are you in there welding?
Am I in there welding?
Are you in there physically?
In my
literally
garage?
In your garage welding?
Yeah, TIG welding.
Maybe at some point you might want to open up the garage for the smoke and I don't know, the other things to clear out. God forbid you open the door and allow some of the smoke to clear out if the mosquitoes aren't coming after you.
It was so.
And have a nice breeze.
See, this
I
whole
don't-
thing stinks to high heaven.
It would really stink if you kept the door closed.
Yeah, it looks to me like they're just harassing him. That's what I mean. From a third person looking in, it looks just like harassment.
You think so?
Yeah. It just looks like harassment. Because obviously, I mean, you have a copy of the ordinance, right? You brought a copy of the ordinance?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
No, I want to, Larry, you think that this guy trying to provide for his family,
yes.
looking up the ordinances, making sure he's in compliance on 15 acres, on 5 houses, on a private road, opening up his door once and having multiple trucks throughout the week drop off supplies or pick up things, doing operations for a private client. Do you honestly think that him having to fall into a lawsuit with the township is somehow them personally attacking him? How dare you, Larry, insinuate that these people are not up and just doing their very level best and having no other agenda whatsoever. They're just trying to uphold community standards. Have you ever heard from anybody else in the community ever having a problem with what you're doing over there?
Friend.
No, just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah, just one.
Just one and a silent.
How dare you assume that he's not the biggest criminal on his block doing all sorts of horrible, just environmentally impactful things? I object
Yeah, there you go.
to you, Larry. This guy's clearly, he should have been charged criminally for operating a business.
Maybe, yeah.
Should have been raided by the FBI.
Yeah.
Should have been incarcerated with the kidnappers and the
Letitia James should have
she should have
stepped
come.
in.
Dude, you probably didn't put a period on one of your mortgage forms on that 15 acres.
I know a ton of people in Livingston County that do that. I got a friend that runs. I got a friend whose wife actually trains dogs
on their property.
on their property.
That's a clear violation.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah, if it's outdoors.
Clear,
if it's in
clear
Howell
violation.
Township.
Yeah,
the dogs probably bark at wee
service
hours of the morning.
dogs.
That's
service dogs.
well, but in a little bit of Irish, Scottish
I got
lingo,
another
in
friend.
in the wee hours of the morning, their dogs are barking, and we don't allow that. We don't allow dogs to bark. In
I
the
have
wee.
a hoist in my garage.
You are in
I
complete.
work on Mustangs and Jeeps.
Do you ever entertain clients?
There's a dancing pole.
I don't mean those type of clients. I mean, does somebody else
Don't tell
ever-
my wife about the pole.
Clearly, see, the chat understands what I'm saying. Why haven't you been swatted?
I think we came pretty close.
Pretty close to being swatted.
I feel like I was swatted.
You
big time.
left your garage door open during a vehicle delivery when the mosquitoes were not assaulting you. Maybe the township should have focused on mosquito mitigation rather than attacking you for running a business out of your home.
Yeah, they could have addressed this a few different ways, but they didn't have to spend $34,000.
$34,000, and nobody walked across the street to knock on your door and say, you know what, Shane, we got a
No, but we did. Once we got the FOIA, the complaint actually came from an unsuspected neighbor. So somebody we didn't suspect the complaint to come from, and
Yeah.
she's an older gal, and my wife went over and talked to her because I didn't want to go over. I didn't want to create a intimidation or something. And she says, "What's the problem? Can you just let us know? We'll be happy to fix it."
let's talk it out.
And she
So
says,
you weren't even telling
she
these
says,
guys
"Can't
to
you
F
guys
off or
just
nothing?"
do that somewhere else?" And we're like,
Do what?
We're trying to start a business and move on. Believe us. But you got to tell us what the problem is." She says, "There's times where it sounds like there's a dental drill or something." My wife's like, "My husband does this as a hobby.
Right.
It's gone on.
Right.
The same tools he used as a hobby, he uses as to feed
It's
our
your passion-
family,
it's
right?"
your passion, dude.
She says, "But we can deal with that. No problems." My wife comes home and tells me, "All right, door's going
We
shut."
can deal with that.
Like,
Until you switch over to actually making money at it, you're okay.
right, right.
You know, he's much nicer than me because, like, I would get that. Like,
You put Trump
what do you
signs in
call
your
it?
yard, you crazy
You call
fuck.
it a dental. Sounds like a dental drill. I would like get a microphone and a speaker, and amplify it and point it at that neighbor's house.
Well, yeah, as much as that might seem like the thing to do at the time, it doesn't create long-lasting neighborly relationships, right?
So this is more the elderly lady neighbor is more about the noise levels, which I get. I talked to you before the show. We have a decibel meter here in the man cave. We work really hard with the bands that are in here, primarily my band, but bands in the past. I go, there's a decibel meter. Dial in your levels. I'm going to set your house, stuff like that.
Don't let
but
him
down-
fool you. That's for measuring his farts.
Not mine, that's Larry's. It's disgusting.
What's your record?
Larry's record is about 93.
Oh, man. It must have been in your back pocket, huh?
Well, he was really close to the decibel meter, so we had to wash it off afterwards. But, we work really hard at maintaining like 100 decibels. But I told you, I looked up the ordinance when I had one neighbor that had a problem. I'm like, I could do 110 outside until 11 o'clock, Sunday through Thursday, and 110 until 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. So there's a huge difference between comfort level and these ordinances and all this other shit. Here's a slight thing, and I want you to continue. I remember being in high school, and you had those chairs with a desk that was all connected as one, right? Remember those? And I would be sitting in my chair, and I have ADHD, so it's part of what makes the podcast work, because I can push a button and look over here and talk to you and do this stuff like that. But I would bounce my leg, right? My leg would be bouncing on the chair in front of me, because that's how they were set up. And you'd have that person in front of you going, "Can you stop bouncing your leg?" "Yeah, my bad." And you put your foot on the floor and you're bouncing your leg on the floor. And then they would turn around and go, "It's okay if you put it on there." "Oh, it's okay if I put it." So it bothered you until you realized that it was actually a little bit nice to have your chair kind of having a little bit of, when it felt okay. But you got annoyed. And I watched so many people that are annoyed by stupid shit, and then you take care of it and you remove it out of their life, and then they don't know what to do. They try to find something else to be annoyed by. And I'm like, why don't you just relax into what's annoying you, and it won't annoy you anymore, and you might actually like it. It's
Yeah.
like, am I annoyed by my neighbor's chickens? Oh, they're up at 7 a.m. and they're going off and they're doing this, and I go, okay, it's annoying. It's annoying. We got rid of the chickens, and they go, it's kind of quiet. Oh, now we're annoyed that it's kind of quiet. These are the type of people that they don't even fucking know what they're asking for. You were awesome, by all accounts. You're great, awesome neighbors. It sounds like he's running a dental drill. Well, you could have all sorts of other things going on that would really annoy you. But you found a reason to be annoyed. And instead of being a neighbor like your wife was, walking across the street going, can we work this out? You went to a third-party governmental agency to take care of your annoyance instead of walking up face-to-face and talking people out. Because most of the time when you do that, when you talk it out face-to-face, you realize how much of a shit you're being for being annoyed about something stupid. And I find that across the board. It's like, you know what? Just come over. Can we talk this out? It's the people like you and your wife that walk over and go, can we just talk this out? That are the pioneers, that are the patriots, that are the true conservatives, that are the true people that want to create community. And other ones that get a bug up their ass and try to control their neighbors and try to do all sorts of shit. And you're like, that's why we give the disclaimer at the top of the show. You're just being an asshole. I don't want to see your fucking comments. I don't want to see them. Because if you don't like the show from the start, you're not going to like the show as we get in. Because we expect individual people to hold themselves accountable and respect the person sitting across from them, no matter how differing their views may be. I expect a fucking dialogue, a conversation. And if you can't articulate your position without going to a third party or getting loud, you already lost. And so you're dealing with all this shit because people get a bug up their ass and they can't. She never came. Your wife she's like, no, honey, I know you're going to probably be a little feisty or whatever the situation was. I'll handle it. Woman on woman, I'm going to go over and talk to her. No big deal. Right? After she has a conversation with her.
Yeah, so no more issues. We can address an issue if you have an issue, but if you don't come to us,
we can't
let
do a
us
thing.
know. We can't even decide what the issue is.
My one neighbor back here comes over to me. Oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. You can't be. I don't want. I'm like, and he starts blowing a gasket. I said, you have no fucking clue. What? And he's throwing a fit. I said, all of our paperwork's filed over here. All the things filed over here. I have every right to clear the area in preparation for what's going on. Because whether that goes through or not, I can clear that area without any permission.
It's your land.
It's my land.
Yeah.
I said, well, I checked with the county and with the township. You haven't even filed, or you haven't even gotten your permit. I said, you're correct. We have not gotten the permit, but we filed for it. Did you get that information? And they come over with a big attitude. And I said, you know what? At the end of it, you need to get the fuck off my property. My property. And go back to your property and mind your own fucking business. And we've lost that. We've lost a huge sense of community in this country. And we've lost a huge sense of mind your own fucking business. Those are two things that have been, it's like all of a sudden I'm empowered to tell you what to do on your property. Do I pay your house payment? Do I pay your property tax? Do I pay for your insurance and all your utilities and all that? No. Well, then what kind of arrogance do I have because you invaded my
Ear space?
Do I have any right to dictate to you? I may not like it, but then it's incumbent upon me to walk across the street
When I lived in Brighton
and
Township,
say, what's up, bro?
When I lived in Brighton Township, they were pushing a tree ordinance. So what these arrogant pricks thought, and I'm the guy that would do this too. What these arrogant pricks thought is that they would put tags on all my trees and tell me that I couldn't cut them down. Those are my trees. And if you put a tag on my tree, tell me I can't cut it down.
That's the first fucking tree.
That's the first tree hitting the ground. And it'll hit the ground before you step off my property.
Right. You may love that tree and it's your favorite tree. And because somebody told you couldn't cut that down,
It's
that's
down.
the first fucking tree that's coming down. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So give us a recap of what's transpired. I think we've gotten the essence, because I like to do this. I like to get into the extemporaneous dynamics of a trial. We could go through the page by page
Sure.
and do all that stuff. But the reality is, you got neighbors that didn't walk across the street. You got neighbors that had a problem with you long before, and they were looking for an opportunity. Oh, you opposed me on that shit, so I'm going to do this. And then when you get elected as a trustee, you took the moral high ground and recused yourself from this dynamic, even though that was one of the motivating dynamics of you even running was, I'm not putting up with this bullshit anymore, so I'm going to get involved. But in your own case, you decided to retract yourself from being involved. And we don't have enough of those people. We don't have enough of those people that get involved and then go, I cannot advocate on my own behalf in this situation because it has some level of impropriety. Versus other people that just double down. Oh no, yeah, and they close sessions, whatever. And you go, are you serious? You're the one who initiated this shit. You should be the first one to say, I can't be involved. But their egos, their arrogance, keeps them involved. Right. So you've gone through this bullshit. You had multiple trucks stopped during the week, dropping things off, picking things up.
Yeah, we did the calculation. 0.7 trucks per month over a year. So
0.7.
0.7.
Yeah, so less than one delivery a
A
month.
month.
I drink the Crown Royal Washington Apple drinks. They're 7% alcohol per can. So I'm like 10% above your deliveries, and nobody. Well, somebody this weekend did say something, but no. But your delivery 0.7% deliveries, but somebody had incriminating videos.
Somebody. We've never seen him to this day. Well, actually, I figured out
Incriminating videos of something that's happening that's not against the law. You forgot to leave that out.
So let's summarize this.
It's
then
not like you
we'll
were
have some
training dogs on the
get into
property or anything.
what, dude, you need to respond to Fishing with MC because they're going nuts on there. and Fishing with MC, you don't have to use all caps. Larry will read it. I mean, I feel like if you're going to use all caps, you need to give a super chat.
So recap was
What's the latest?
a complaint came down. We went to court. At the end of the day, after 3 separate trials,
And
the
you did
judge,
everything to negotiate going into private sessions with them right up to the days, like 2 different times, going right up to the day of the trial, and you said, no, you don't. You want to put a bunch of extra bullshit agreement on me. Fuck it, we're going to court.
Yeah, we're going to court. I'm not going to rely on the ambiguity of, let alone the ordinance, but also the negotiations that are left wide open.
Wide open, they wanted you to pay for any legal.
Leaves the door open to pay any legal fees, so a lien could be placed against my property when they run the bill up to the sky. And then, what, now I'm losing my house? No, we're not going to go that. Let's go to court.
Yeah.
And we'll let the courts decide. So at
Right.
the end of the day, after 3 separate trials, The judge says, Mr. Fagan, I do find that your business was a legal at-home occupation, a valid at-home occupation. However, you can't work with the door open.
Oh my God.
So
What does it specify which door?
So it says,
Can't work with the front garage door open?
that's swimming pools. Next page.
I do.
That's our swimming pool ordinance.
I want you to make sure you highlight that shit for the next time, because.
So, here's the breakdown of the at-home occupation ordinance in our township. A non-residential use shall only be incidental to the primary residential use. So it means you must live there in order to have an at-home occupation.
Big check mark.
Clearly demonstrated.
Check mark.
Family of 4. We
Right,
live there.
right.
We work there.
Do you piss on the trees behind your house? Like a man would?
Well, I have a bathroom, so maybe that was the problem. Maybe I was supposed to piss on the trees behind my house. I would be.
There's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. You forgot to pee on the tree.
Did you just say pee, Larry? Mm-hmm. We say piss on this show. Candy ass.
The
Continue.
occupation shall utilize no more than 25% of the ground floor area of the principal structure or an accessory structure not to exceed 25% of the gross floor area of the principal structure.
But it's attached, so
it's attached.
This negates that, right?
So there's some ambiguity there that came up during the appeal. So we can get into
Ambiguity.
that.
We're gonna use provide for the general welfare to create a whole welfare system within the United States. Yeah, exactly.
Only normal domestic household equipment and equipment characteristic of small workshops, businesses, and professional offices shall use to accommodate the home occupation. Well, it's a small workshop. The equipment I have in my small workshop is characteristic of a small workshop. I don't have 3-phase. Everything I had was single phase.
Oh,
Most of what I do is mechanical tools, right? A stomp shear, tin snips. Those don't make any noises. If I got something that makes a noise, I guarantee it doesn't make any more noise than a circular saw.
Shane, I'm gonna think that that's open to a little bit of interpretation. That if you're using some of these tools,
Well, what's their ordinance on circular saws, just in case?
Boy, yeah. If I was a carpenter, I would have hit those decibels. Let me tell you. But
dude, I got some tools here that are hardcore, dude.
right,
You know,
right.
and I'll turn the night lights on and start working. And I'm
That's
like,
why you're
man,
so
my neighbors.
satisfied.
I do have some tools I work on. Continue, sir.
The home occupation shall involve no employees other than members of the immediate family residing on the premises except one non-resident employee shall be permitted per the
Did you ever have any
Dwelling
employees?
no, just my family.
But your wife did your books and your social media.
Yep.
Disqualified.
Yeah. How dare she?
I had a mechanic.
Don't say that.
I did. When I had the trucking company, my wife ran the books. I ran the truck company.
So I could have had a full-time
one-
employee. They could have
Right,
parked
one guy.
out in front of my house.
But the initial thing was you opened the door during the delivery.
So then, here's the one that
They got you.
they got me. All activities shall be carried on indoors. No outdoor activities shall be permitted.
So as soon as you open the door, it becomes outdoor? Is that what they're...
No outdoor activity. What is activity? It depends on what. Listen.
Well, if you're going to get a delivery,
Well,
it has
wait
to
a-
come from the out of doors to the indoors.
See, now, okay, now he's in compliance because he didn't pee outside.
Well,
Because
but-
that would have been an outside activity.
Listen, Larry, I appreciate everything you're saying, but
I do not have.
it depends on what the definition of is, and we clearly don't have a definition of what outdoor activities. Clearly, someone under the desk, that's indoor activities. And there might be something on the dress. Dress might be saved for later, but that's not the definition of an outdoor activity. And we got to clarify what is an outdoor activity. Peeing on a tree, maybe, I don't know, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Just saying, it's, there's a woman in that coffin. We can't forget that.
I wonder if
Do you remember
when
that
you
scene?
first started,
Oh,
when you were
I was just a
working,
wee lad, man.
did you wear a mask in your garage? Did you wear a mask in your garage?
You got to wear a mask, man. It's just the way it is, man.
Wrong voice.
What mask? What voice am I supposed to use
For a mask?
for a mask? Is that Biden or is that Obama?
No, it'd be
Oh, Fauci? You like Fauci?
Fauci.
Listen, you should have been wearing a mask no matter what. No matter what you do, it just makes sense, common sense,
Yeah.
that if you're in a shop where you are required to have the doors closed and there's no outside activities, you should have been wearing even 2 or 3 masks, because if one mask works, then it just is common sense that 2 or 3 masks, even 10 masks, would work 10 times better, because we've got to protect you from yourself and maintain 6 feet of distance, even between. Listen, if you're going to have relations even with your wife, maybe a mask. And even a full-body condom should be appropriate in that situation to stop the transmission, even though the jab is supposed to protect you from any transmission, but it doesn't, so that's good.
Where's my car keys?
Where's my khakis? I was walking around all day in long khakis. Wait, car keys or khakis? Khakis. Okay.
That's
know
all
what
I
you
got
said.
for that.
That's all I got.
No alterations, additions, or changes to the principal or accessory structure that will change the residential character of the dwelling or structure shall be permitted in order to accommodate or facilitate the home occupation. So you can't add a second story, you can't add on to your garage, you can't do that.
Wouldn't that
right?
all be permitted anyways and approved?
In a, what would they say, is a accessory use, right, or a, but to do it for the sole intent of growing the business, you couldn't do that. But there's some other instances in the township where parking lots have been allowed to go in to serve the home occupation, and it's on the record, like.
I
so
had
there
to pull a
was-
permit. My mother-in-law insisted pulling permits for the bathrooms back here. I'm not going to say anything about the rest of the building. Because I did a lot of shit and I don't give a fuck. And you know what's amazing is when my inspectors walk in, which I develop a relationship, and they walk in and go, oh, this is badass. And I go, yep. And I didn't ask your fucking permission. On that I did, and I got it. But I didn't ask your permission on this stuff.
That's what's funny about this too. Because I was running for office while they were pursuing this, they felt obligated to go to the township's planner, which is a third-party firm that helps write the ordinances. As you know, we got to write more ordinances,
Of course.
or we're not doing anything productive.
Let's write more laws.
We need
rules.
more laws. Someday we'll have the right amount, and everybody will be free.
Wait, I think it was Thomas Paine that said we must institute the least amount of government to uphold the greatest amount of rights and freedoms.
Yeah, and how many levels past that are we? I
Yeah.
mean, laws, ordinances.
I think we talked before the show about if our founding fathers were here, they would find the proverbial tea, the boat full of tea, and toss it into the river or the bay long ago. Because
Most
the amount of
definitely.
shit that we're enduring right now, our founding fathers would have went, fuck no.
So the township's planner's response to this was, the township went to the planner and says, hey, this is in a person's garage. He's constantly drilling and, oh no, that's a complaint, sorry.
Oh. Well, if that's the case, I'll take you to my wood shop here in the
Yeah,
main
yeah.
cave.
Yeah, hold on. I want to hear the complaint too. after
Paul,
he's
we
done.
received an email below regarding Mr. Fagan, who is presently running for township trustee. In an effort to remove all possible political issues from the table, could you please review and advise whether this is permitted in the single-family residential use? And the planner, from our township's hired firm, says no. This use is not permitted in single-family residential district. Manufacturing is permitted in an industrial and industrial flex zone. So now I'm manufacturing, right? Now I'm a big industrial manufacturing, yet we've never had a conversation.
What's the definition of is?
We get into the definition.
Again, what's the definition of manufacturing? Isn't manufacturing an assembly line type dynamic where you're manufacturing?
So I believe the township's definition was to take a tangible good and turn it into something else, right? Which they permit.
You mean running a business?
Yeah.
So these are overlapping definitions that
So
are
all of a
contradictory.
sudden, manufacturing's not permitted, but
So
So
you
this sounds
could
like
manufacture ice cream cones?
It sounds like a them.
dresses.
It sounds like a them problem, not a you problem.
Yes.
So here's the interesting
I
part.
told you it sounds like they were harassing him.
Vehicle repair is a special use, so now I'm a vehicle repair facility somehow.
Wait, Larry just made a statement that I want to push back on.
Again?
Again, I don't want to cuss too much on the show because that's not what we're about. But for fuck's sake, you just said it sounds like maybe it's harassment. I got fired up before the fucking show listening to him give me his disclaimer. This is total fucking little small government, little Fauntleroy dancing around in his little schoolboy costume, acting like he owns the fucking world. This is total bullshit on the record. And we even had we had the main person on the show, and I'm fucking pissed that I didn't push back because I didn't know all these details. Not
Wait.
at you directly. But I'm going to tell you what. After sitting with you tonight and talking this is the problem in this country. We don't connect with our neighbors. We use government to try and control each other and spend thousands of dollars of other people's fucking money.
Hard-earned money. Hard-earned fucking money that's taken without a choice, right?
No fucking transparency, no accountability. We're spending $34,000 to tell you that well, we think you might be kind of trying to maybe something violate something or other, running a business and fighting for. Fuck you.
And then to turn around and say something like this. If this were just a hobby, it could be considered accessory to the residential use. But it appears that this is a commercial activity and therefore cannot be permitted.
It appears. So if we go over to my wood shop and over the next week, we cut some wood, we plane it, which I have a planer, I have my circular saws, I have my table saws, and we make it out really nice, and we make a table, and then we pour epoxy, which I can buy online. It's quite expensive. I was going to say fairly cheaply. Buy some epoxy, and we pour that epoxy in there. We make a river table, and then I have you fabricate some really awesome metal legs for underneath that table, and we sell that table for $7,000 because we did the epoxy and a couple pieces of beautiful maple, and we poured the colors through there, and then you made some beautiful legs underneath that table, and then we sell it for $7,000. Just hypothetically. Did we do business that violates your fucking policies? If I sell my table out of here? If somebody drops this, this past Tuesday, it was $70 dropped in my super chat on the show. That particular show made $70. Let alone the ads. You know? Do we?
Yeah, and they're.
Are they going to come after us?
Did you notice they're putting more and more ads in our show?
Because our show's gaining popularity. In the during this live stream,
Yeah, to see how popular it is when you're not on it.
only when you're on. But but it's during the live show. They don't interrupt with ads.
Yeah.
It's when you watch it the next day that their ad pop up at the beginning and then ads pop up. Great. You can skip the ads. You can do that. But this is the type of shit. It's like where is the slippery slope of when you tell me just sit down with me and tell me you're not allowed to make money. Just tell me that. Then I need to come onto the corporate farm and work for somebody else that it has all of their allegiance to whatever government official they can either buy off or they're subservient to, and tell me that I can't fucking make my own living on my own
Can
and
anybody
provide a service.
Can anybody see your garage when you're working in it? I mean,
Not driving down the main road. They would have to be on private property to do so. I mean, private drive.
It's a private drive. That means his property is completely private.
Right. Is it posted no trespassing?
It's posted private drive.
Yeah.
Which is adequate.
Yeah, I don't
Could
know.
be ambiguous, like their fucking rules that they're trying to infringe on him, but
But it begs the question if it's allowed as a hobby. If I'm allowed to do it as a hobby, then the only threshold is that I've accepted $1.
wait.
That's it?
But no. If you sold your shit on Etsy, your hobby could be your full income.
What's Etsy?
Fuck off, Larry.
Etsy. It's the crafty ladies platform for selling things. You know? Maybe
I
not
have no
just the
idea what
ladies.
it
Are you
but-
serious?
Yes, I'm
Are you
serious.
serious right now?
Never heard of Etsy.
Etsy's one of Etsy's requirements is you can't mass produce or mass manufacture.
Okay.
One of their requirements is that everything that you put on their site
Yeah.
has to be a unique.
Like
you
a
could-
handcrafted thing?
Yeah, my daughter was doing a ton of crocheting and knitting, making crochet animals, right? She was supposed to-
ETSY?
Yep.
Right?
You got it.
Yeah, he knows how to spell. Yeah, but that's the dynamic. Is when does a hobby, Mr. Coffee, who's our mutual friend, right?
Yep. Yep.
He does. In fact, there's one right there. He does his little. Yeah, Mr. Coffee does this. You didn't know that?
No.
These are something Mr. Coffee does.
Oh,
I'll
man.
Put it since Larry's looking at his phone.
Yeah.
But these are. He calls them. I don't know if you guys can see that clearly. I'm trying to get it in focus. But he does these. These are cedar, a lot of times. But he carves these faces in there. He also does bracelets. I have a bracelet downstairs that he's made me. And then he does, actually downstairs too, I have my, I don't know what he calls them. It's not a dream thing, but he has the circles with the stones hanging in them and wrapped in leather.
Okay.
And I have 7 stones that represents chakra stones. And it's really cool. And he brought it over to me. So, and he sells these at festivals and sells them. When does that hobby become your income and now it's your business and you're not allowed? How dare you try to provide for your family through your hobby?
When you got a neighbor who wants to weaponize the ordinance.
I think that's kind of what this all boils down to.
That's when that happens.
Is you gotta, yeah. And so, we will talk after the show, Larry, that neighbor's no longer. The one thing I can't fucking stand is people who are deceptive. You can be ignorant, you can be misunderstood, you can be somebody who's on a journey of learning to be a better person. But when you straight up fucking lie to me, I have no fucking appetite for you. When you act like you're something you're not, I have no fucking, no. You don't have to tell me everything. I don't tell you what my life likes in bed. I definitely don't want to know what fucking Larry's wife likes in bed. But don't lie to me. You don't have to tell me everything. You don't have to give me all your details.
Right.
But don't fucking lie to me. And don't act like you're something you're not. Don't act like you're not trying to screw somebody over for your own fucking purposes. Don't do that shit. You don't like somebody, walk away from them. You don't like somebody that lives near you, move. That's a freedom in this country. Don't make hell on somebody else because of your personal fucking agenda. Because one thing I'll do is call you out on air on my show. But more importantly, the other thing I'll do, I'm going to go into prayer. And the prayers of a righteous man are powerful and effective. And I will start speaking over things. And I don't want anybody's destruction, but I will guarantee you I want you fucking removed from other people who are doing the right thing. And you're doing the right thing, brother. And that's one thing I can't stand. I can't stand it. I absolutely despise people who can't be honest and who try to destroy other people for their own gain. That, I will go to my grave defending. I will go to my grave praying that the Lord
Well,
makes
the
it
ordinance
right.
officer should have known better.
It was
the
$100 fucking fine,
Right.
and he's in court. This is some of the stuff you guys don't get this full dynamics because we ramble and I ramble. You didn't. He won. He's won multiple times. The judges sided with you multiple times.
Just sided with him again.
And she goes, I've never had somebody that won still appeal. You know why you appealed? Well, you know why you appealed, but
Well, I didn't appeal. The township appealed.
well, they appealed, but you're like, I've never had somebody come in that you won. And he goes, because I was right. Right?
So
They appealed. They lost 9 counts of a 10 count.
right, which gave them the guilty. It gave me I was responsible. I took my lumps. I paid my $100. Thought it was all over.
On your 1 count
On my 1 count,
of a $100 fine.
$100 fine.
They lost on 9 counts. They were vindicated technically on the 1 count. You pay your $100 fine. You moved your business off your property
Yeah. I moved the business before we ever stepped into district court.
and tried to negotiate with them, which you couldn't disclaim in court because they're not going to be honest about what they said behind closed doors.
That's right.
Adjudicate that. You know, and they still came after you for the $100 that they were awarded.
Yeah, so they got their $100. At that point, it was like $28,000 spent. Right? They got their $100, so they made out like a dumbass bandit.
Yeah, they made
And
I
spent
think that's is
28,000.
that a negative for the township? Pretty sure it's a negative for the township.
Well, so they only lost 27,000.
$900.
yeah.
Wow, what a victory!
Well,
Wow.
And what incidentally, what was this big conviction with a $100 fine?
The big conviction was keep your door closed, right?
Oh my
you gotta
God.
Keep your door closed.
Yeah, but
Wait,
but
what-
they weren't satisfied with that. They
Yeah.
wanted the courts to say no, that business was illegal. He can't do that, and we
They
don't ever,
wanted to be justified no matter what the
no
outcome.
matter what. Yeah,
They wanted
So-
that rubber stamp on there saying, you were the bad guy and I was right.
yep. What they wanted was the judge to say, yes, speed shops are illegal.
So there's
I think it
there's
was
a real
speakeasies.
simple solution
Speakeasies.
here
that's it.
is for your garage door, build a screen door, open up the rolling door.
I was going to say that.
Still
I was
inside.
going to say that for the mosquitoes. Probably would be prosecuted for having just a screen door because
Probably
now I
wouldn't
can hear
had
the
to pull a
noise.
permit for it.
The noise comes through very loud. How dare you? What was the meme going around? We're going to cover it on Tuesday. What's the meme going around? We need peace in the Middle East, is Greta Thunberg going, we need peace in Gaza.
Not
She's
you.
screaming. And Trump goes, I'm working on peace. She goes, not you! No!
Or she posted some pictures of the Israeli prisoners or something and claimed that they were Palestinian prisoners. You see that one?
She's so disgusting,
Oops.
dude. Well,
Yeah,
you know what? I don't even blame her.
No, I blame her parents.
I mean, we use the proper term retard, and she is. She's.
It's like that one guy
Retard
running
means
around.
slow.
It's like that one guy.
Dude, I have it in the front of my Bible. Retard means to be hindered in forward motion.
Yes.
She's clearly hindered in forward motion, like most
Well,
of the leftists.
it's like that guy that runs around town in a miniskirt and cat ears. I mean,
Why'd you
do
bring
you
that up?
Do you blame him or do you blame?
Now you're gonna be sued for slander, and I can't back
Do
you
you
up
blame
because you
his
brought that up.
parents? You can't sue me for slander. I'm asking a question.
You do are asking a question.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been sued for having his garage door open during the fucking middle of the day. And clearly somebody's out there with a surveillance camera and nothing else better to do. I had a neighbor years ago, and they would do shit. Not to this level. It never went to court. But they would, and I'm like, you need a fucking hobby instead of watching my house all fucking day. You need to do something other than watching me. Well, I saw you the other day and you were doing such. And the crazy thing is, these fuckers would borrow my tools. I'd come home and they were, hey, we used your wheelbarrow. I used my wheelbarrow. Cool. It's all good. And then my kids would be playing in the tree, and they had a fence that ran like right through the tree, one of those type of property. And my kids like were coming down on the tree and stepped on the top of their fence, and it broke off like the top of the dog ear of the fence. And literally had this stupid fucker coming over to me, and he's like, "Your kids were using a sledgehammer on my fence." I'm like, "Your fence is 15 years old, and I could push it over right now, and you're a dumb shit." And no, they didn't. Because if my kids took a sledgehammer, because I've taught them to use a sledgehammer, and the 8-pounder's right over there, and if they swung it at your fence, there would be nothing left. They slipped coming down a tree. I apologize. Would you like me to replace this one picket? They called the police on me like 3 different times as neighbors. And the cops would, at the end of this whole altercation, go, "You need to go back in your house and shut your mouth before I take you in." And I go, I'd look at the cop, I knew him, and I'd be like, "Dude, this is what I deal with." They're just like, just antique. I wrote a song about it. My kids used to crack up. Because the one guy had a big mullet, the one kid, and I'm like, "Mullet man!" I play my guitar for him. And my kids would be cracking up. They're like, "Dad, it's hilarious." I'm like, "Mullet man, I don't want you on my property, but I'm gonna walk on yours." And they'd be like, "Dude." Anyways, I went on a tangent.
Man.
Mullet man, dude, it was crazy. It was a sad mullet too. It was it's not like a pretty mullet, like a really nice quasi manly mullet. I'll say that because I don't know if most mullets are manly. Maybe Joe Dirt. But it was like all curly and stuff. And so it was like shaved and then curly. Like it was like, it just looked nasty. I was like, dude, tie it up into a ponytail and at least act like a girl instead of letting it hang out there and try to be a man.
So at any
They're
point,
coming back. You know?
at any
Dude,
point,
don't say that. It's
did
fucking
they
freaking me out.
try and come after you for costs? At any point?
No, so
Well, they tried to get him to sign an agreement that if he
in the future.
in
they
the
would have
future,
if
it
they
costs,
said
it's limited by the statute which I imagine is the Zoning Enabling Act. They can only recover up to $500, I believe it is, for a
Oh.
zoning ordinance violation, which the judge did not award them.
So where are we at this point? You have prevailed, but you're anticipating a potential appeal if there's
So yeah, now it went to appeal. They petitioned the circuit court to appeal the decision of the lower court, the district court.
Right.
And just last Wednesday, it went to the circuit court, and at this point, we had already moved our business. We're into a commercial building. We're growing the business because of that, and my legal days were over. I had to focus on my business because up to that point, 3 separate trials costed me about 300 hours, I figured. So it was a big money loss for me just to
Dude, it's
dedicate that
ridiculous.
time,
Yeah.
right? So I hired an attorney because an appeal was out of my realm. It was all out of my realm, but I knew that an appeal is just a whole nother animal.
You broke down and hired an attorney?
So I hired an attorney for the appeal. So the township, how an appeal works is the appealee or appealant, the person who brings the appeal on, they submit the petition to the court, basically their reasons why, their argument, and then once that's submitted to the court and the other party, I had so many days to issue a response.
Yeah.
So in their appeal, they argued things like the square footage of the garage. Ultimately, they said the footprint of the garage was
God.
too large to be used as an at-home occupation. That was back to the ambiguity of their ordinance, saying that just because my square footage of my garage was 500 square feet, it simply cannot be used for an at-home occupation. So
What
now we're arguing something completely
Right,
different.
and what constitutes an at-home occupation versus a hobby that you make money at? At what point do we flip over? You know, I go back to Oliver Stone's JFK with Walter Matthau on the plane with Kevin Costner, and he goes, "Don't give me that Warren Commission. They were trying to pull that shit out of Pepper." It's like, what are you doing? You're trying to extract. You're trying to make this work for you, and you're an asshole for doing this.
They started pulling in stuff that wasn't even part of the trial. They started pulling
Right.
in Brighton's ordinances, and here's how other ordinances
and
work.
you're-
And the judge would not have it. She says,
That's
"I
awesome.
have." She says, "I have never had a prevailing party come in here and appeal a decision that was favorable to them. He was found guilty. What are we doing
What
here?"
the hell are we doing?
Well, Your Honor, we're concerned that the precedent
We
set.
want to be justified. I did pull up the article. This right here. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this wall feed here, guys. Howell Township trustee Shane Fagan scored. What's the proper voice to use? I can't read it in my own voice, or I fuck it up. Should we do a little
And
southern?
then maybe a Cronkite.
I don't know, Cronkite. Let me see. I could do. What's the other guy? Not Cronkite. The Tom Brokaw.
There you go.
Howell Township trustee Shane Fagan scored a legal victory Wednesday when district court judge tossed out the township's appeal against him over an ordinance violation. Fagan was cited with $100 for running a business out of his home. Lie. But he fought back, claiming the township's ordinance was too vague and not enforceable, not enforced equally. Quote, "That business moved out in November 2024. This is, by definition, a moot issue that the township has relentlessly pursued, spending what I believe to be almost $32,000 and counting, which is now up to 34. What's next for me as a trustee is to address the ambiguity within the township ordinances to have allowed them to weaponize the law against its own residents and against its own board members." And what this really comes down to is you have a neighbor with a bug up his ass that you offended at a certain point because you defended another neighbor who's pursuing this bullshit. That's what it comes down to. There's no, have looked at this for the last 6 months, right? There's no other fucking way to look at this.
Well, not only, and I won't even agree to that, but acknowledge it in a sense. But we also have a zoning administrator who's the treasurer on the board. So our zoning administrator has a vote amongst the board, and I get the feeling like he took it pretty hard losing in court. So he was the one to support that motion to appeal.
Right. Because they look like assholes, which they are. And now, as assholes, they're going to... This is the amazing thing about people who are not on the right side of things. They will destroy themselves in pursuit of looking like they did the right thing. Whereas people who are doing the right thing, they'll take a loss. They'll go, you know what? I missed that one. Whereas people who are assholes who are trying to control other people, they will implode completely to pursue their justification of what they did. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. We got to have you back, Shane, again. We rambled quite a bit, but I love it. I rambled. You fed into it. It's your fault. But I love the conversation. I wanted to get your background. It's not just about this case. This case, we could sit, I think actually WHMI did a good job of kind of clarifying, reading through that article earlier today. They did a good job of kind of at least summarizing the current status of it, not all the history of it. But I wanted to get some of our history of you coming to Howell Township, of your work in the industry and welding, and being a fabricator of at least some worth, I would say renown. You don't move beyond the factory setting into a place where your skills are desired unless you make a name for yourself, which you've done. And then to be contracted to do one-off jobs and stuff like that, and then to get on the radar of another person in the township because you advocated for another resident, not even somebody that was involved at the time, and to then have them come after you, it's abhorrent to me. I think it's the biggest violation of the essence of our country. It's like, listen, you can have a problem with me, but let's talk it out. And if I'm right, then you need to be the bigger person to say that you were wrong and I was right. And we haven't had that in this situation. You've got people that are that you were adjudicated. Was this Wednesday? But you know, they may still go after this.
Then he
And
celebrated with a pig roast. That was
No, you
probably a
didn't.
violation too.
Did
Just
you have
saying.
people over?
No, I was invited.
He was invited.
I was
to a
invited
pig
to a
roast.
pig roast. I thought he held a pig roast on his 15-acre
Probably
little
a
small property.
violation.
Probably a violation.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably a violation. You would know about violations, Larry. So we didn't even get into the data center or the solar panels out there or other township happenings. That's fine. This was a great conversation, and I appreciate you coming. Larry, give me your final thoughts on Shane Fagan's stuff here. I'm gonna have him back. You know, you're gonna bring him in on a Tuesday to co-host. That shit's happening,
All right, I'll do it.
and you won't have to implicate yourself. You just
Yeah.
you'll just
Yeah,
you'll
now I'm
ju-
gonna have
just
to
do
go
it.
back and watch over this and
Now,
prepare
right.
for the next
You're like,
trial.
oh
Yeah, I can
shit.
see him now.
Wait, are you gonna be censured as
Larry,
a
you gotta
township
stop
trustee?
saying-
Oh, man.
Larry,
Yeah.
you got to stop
They
saying
do
carpet
that.
muncher.
We got the Howell or the Heartland school board. We got Glenn and Greg censured 2 years ago.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. What's your final thought, Larry?
Excuse me. My final thought is this.
Was that a nice little burp?
Yeah, it was. Excuse me.
Good job, sweetheart.
So, anyways, I apologize.
He only apologizes because somebody's watching. He doesn't apologize because he actually feels bad.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll burp whatever the fuck I feel like burping.
It just happened.
It bubbled over.
It bubbled. It did.
Yeah, you're like the little
it
girl
did.
drinking
I
champagne.
hope
You're like,
I hope they're done. I hope the township is done.
dude, it's
picking
so
on this
fucking
guy.
stupid.
I mean, this is one of. I mean, I've seen some stupid government stuff in my life. This is like yeah,
$34,000 that we know of.
Yeah. The people deserve their money back. From the people.
I think this is. I agree with you, and I think this is one of the things that is not enforced.
Yes.
I think our government representatives, not our officials, not our authorities,
Right.
government representatives, when they lose stuff like this, should be personally held accountable for the monetary loss.
There should, and hopefully there'll be some recalls
Yeah.
coming up. There's some recalls coming up in Tyrone Township. I'll have people coming on Sunday shows talking about that. That's coming up.
Yeah.
We've got the ex Tyrone Township supervisor. He's coming on the show.
Good. I met up
His
with
name
him.
is Mike Cunningham.
Don't drop names, Larry.
Oh,
You
come
gotta
on.
keep everybody
He's
safe.
a celebrity.
Listen,
Listen, yeah.
dude, we gotta.
He's
Listen,
not going to sue me.
I know, but I'm trying to.
Well,
get
he
you
might.
I'm trying to get you into
Yeah,
a
he
mode
might.
of keeping everybody innocent until they prove themselves guilty.
You know, we've got people coming on the show. We're coming into our winter broadcast.
Dude, this guy's coming back.
So,
This guy, I'm
so
gonna get this
he'll
guy
be
back.
back because we still
Let
got
alone
a
just
lot more
dude,
to talk about.
I'll make fucking Tim come back from Arizona to videotape us doing some welding shit like that. We were gonna launch a whole welding show with one of our other people,
Yeah.
and that kind of got pushed to the side. But
All right.
Yep.
finish, Larry.
But that's my
That's
final
it? That's
thought.
it.
Is I hope this is all over now. I hope the people in the township
it
have
may be-
figured out they look dumb enough already. They shouldn't
Well,
waste the public time.
Contact your buddy on WHMI. They should be watching the show and updating their. What? Did you
say
just
anything.
wave me off? We're all friends here. Sign my paper.
I don't have
Shane.
any friends at WHMI. That's funny.
I was misinformed. I was led.
I know you.
Your final thoughts, Shane. Dude, I love this. This is a great conversation tonight, and I know we didn't get into all the details of but you've gone through that. So
My final thoughts
Yeah.
is it's something that I think I've said this to WHMI is that something I ran my campaign on was no more nonsense ordinances. It's gone too far. We
Yeah.
have enough laws.
Right.
If you're worried about what your neighbors are doing, if you're worried about the blight on your neighbor's property or their activities, and you're complaining about it, it doesn't seem to get us anywhere. Talk to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Move forward. Don't stop the growth. Don't stop the economic development. Don't take food off people's tables.
Right.
We're going to grow one way in this country. Manufacturing's only coming back one way, and that's by the individual acting within their means.
100%.
And oftentimes that's within their own dwellings.
And
So,
you're never going to get rid of true manufacturing. You always have to have somebody on the ground to put shit together, no matter where it comes from. 100%. I will say this, guys. In fact, I'm going to go to my overhead. Get my big signature on here. I will say this. We've got to reconnect with our neighbors. We can't hide behind this shit. We were talking before the show about the HOAs. You know, you want somebody to mandate what your neighbors are doing. You want somebody to tell your neighbors how to mow their lawn in accordance with your lawn. Then move into a subdivision where they have an HOA, get on the board, and then control your neighbors and be an asshole and dictate to them. I have multiple friends that complain about that stuff. Larry deals with that in his lake community where he lost all of his firearms in the tragic boating
accident. It was horrible.
It was very horrible. He is unarmed, so all of you out there.
Yes, I don't have any firearms anymore.
None, not a single.
I hit an
fucking-
iceberg in the middle of Lake Tyrone and
Yeah, and he doesn't have.
lost all my
But,
firearms.
You know, we've got these dynamics where people are trying to control other people, and it bothers me to the core because I understand that God has given us dominion over flocks, herds, birds, the land, but he didn't give us dominion over each other. And this is the constant perversion we actually fight with, is when people don't take control over themselves and by control over themselves, do I have control over my emotions when I'm offended? Do I have control over my heart when I'm bothered by something? Or do I try to control somebody else because I am offended, because I don't have my heart in check? And this is a clear situation where somebody with perceived authority or elected position of servitude is then using it to usurp that place of honor by their constituency and using it to abuse people, and they're hiding behind color of law to the point that the judge has to call them out and go, this does not even rise to this. And then you get a $100 fine, and then they appeal the $100 fine, and the judge goes, what are you fucking doing? You won. Walk away. Quit being an asshole. You won. But because we want, there's a perverse dynamic within all of us where we want to control people for our own benefit, not for their good, that we abuse them. And this is something that needs to be addressed. And if we get back to community, if we get back to connecting with our neighbors, proverbial or literal, we can mitigate the vast majority of this. Our country was founded on our founding fathers meeting in the churches, meeting in the pubs. The women didn't have the right to vote initially because it was the husbands, landowners, but there was an absolute expectation to listen to their wives and their children for feedback, to influence their vote. And then they went to the churches again and the pubs and shared their opinions. And that's how we developed this constitutional representative republic, was this dialogue. Children, wife speaking to the husband, husband speaking to the men of the community, men of the community electing somebody to represent them in a higher level of government. And we've got to get back to this dynamic of communication. We can't be a Randy Weaver on the Hill, even though I don't believe he did anything wrong, but we can't be a Randy Weaver who isolates himself. We can't isolate ourselves. We have to stay in communication. We have to stay in connection. We have to further the conversation, and we have to overcome the bullshit for whatever valid reason we feel there was when we first implemented it. We have to overcome the bullshit regulations and ordinances that are put in place that then nefarious people use to try to control other people. It's abhorrent to us as a constitutional people. It's also abhorrent, I believe, to the heart of God when we try to control other people with nefarious desires. And I just hope everybody got a good feeling out of this tonight, a good sense of community out of this tonight. And I thank you. I'm gonna go back to that one. So much, Shane. I'm gonna make you come back.
I'd be happy to.
Dude,
Thanks
you're a
for
good
having
communicator. I hope I didn't talk too much over you. I'm the host, so I get chatty.
me. Yeah, no problem.
Didn't I tell you before the show started? I was like, dude, I hope I got it out sharing some of my stories. So I didn't. What was the one show, Larry? We had one guy on here who was an author, and he was like, I was like, so tell me about your book. He's like, well, I really had a lot of fun writing the book. Okay, so when you wrote the book, and like the chat later on was like, the host is talking too much. I'm literally pulling fucking teeth trying to get this guy to talk to me, like scream or something as I'm ripping a tooth out. You know, it's like, but this was a great conversation tonight, and I really appreciate it. And I think we tried for like a month and a half, right? Didn't we?
Yeah, we finally made a connection, though.
There was this, and then there was that, and then we had a holiday or two come up, and so it's a honor and a pleasure to finally get you on the show and share your story. And right at the cusp of you having this final victory, we'll see if there's an appeals. We'll give updates, but you got to come back just as a regular commentator, co-host, dude. I appreciate your spirit, and definitely. Shit, we're gonna have to set up a camera and do some welding and stuff like that. Do some crafts around here. We'll probably get charged by the fucking county. Oh, you guys did that, sold it on YouTube for a couple $1 million. Well, ad revenue. We can't account for ad revenue. You know, it's not our fault that we're awesome. Fucking, thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks
Get him
for coming.
first, Larry. I'll shake Larry's hand, even though he farted and smelled on that hand. I apologize for Larry, and I thank you guys all for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. Do all that shit. If Tim was here, Tim would tell you to go to this. No, what was it? The Alex Jones Store. The Alex Jones Store. Spell it all out. TheAlexJonesStore.com / This Is My Brain. And pick up some great products on there. Aside from doing super chats and stuff like that, go to that. That helps do the show. Our ad revenue is doing great. We appreciate everybody. Give a thumbs up. It helps us to move up in the algorithm. We do all that stuff. I don't like to focus on that because I like to have the conversation. But at the end of the day, I need to be aware of all of the things that are going on around our community. And with that, we will say good night.
What are you forgetting?
What?
You forgot something. You got a big party coming.
I got a big party. If you are a friend, there, Tim just posted it in the chat. TheAlexJonesStore.com / This Is My Brain. Thank you, Tim. If you are a friend of ours, I use that in a mafioso. So listen, if you're a friend of ours, not but a friend of ours, meaning you're not some leftist whack job. Listen, I can't even say that.
Just contact me, and that's all they got.
I posted on Facebook. I'm super excited. We're getting the CD all finalized, all the tracks on it. I am super proud of my band. I am going to be 53 years old. It is a Halloween costume party. Wear your costumes, but I'll tell you what, I am so excited about this. At 53 years of age, I really feel that I have reached the best place that I've ever been musically. I didn't pursue a music career like I could have in my youth. I chose to start a family and work a day job. But at this stage of my life, I am so excited about this band, but also this expression of music at this stage in my life. And so
Thank you.
if you're a friend of ours and you've never been to the man cave, please contact Larry. If you're a leftist, politely fuck off. But if you're a friend of ours and you've never been to the man cave and you want to come for November 1st, it's going to be a big party. Fishing with MC asked, what do I play? In this current band, I'm the lead singer, and I am the bass player. But I play guitar, bass, and piano, depending on when I do my solo shows. So, but either way, November 1st, it's going to be an absolute bash. Doors open at 4 o'clock. Band's probably going to take the stage about 6:30. We're going to play all of the songs on the album, with the exception, I think, of one. We're going to play some covers for you guys. We're going to have CDs in-house. We're also going to post everything digital. You'll be available on all the major platforms, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iTunes, all that stuff. It's going to be made available. And I'm really excited about it because these are songs not only that I think are really good, but they're also, I think, very poignant. Some of them are very poignant for the times. It's a song that I wrote, acoustic guitar, but it's called Gone Fishing. It's recapping the story of going fishing with my grandpa. You've heard the song, stop. But there's some other phenomenal songs that are going to be on the album, and then we're going to keep churning out songs after that. But this is going to be a big CD release, and I'm really excited because it's been a passion of my life. I started singing long before I could remember what I was doing with my mom, and she passed away in January, and I really feel like she was pushing me towards this dynamic because she was the one when I was young that said, you need a career versus being a musician. Because my biological father was a musician, and she saw the aftermath of that, and she was afraid for me. She pushed me to be a family man and work a job, and now I'm at the place where she was like dragging me to places and making me play. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, before I leave, she didn't say this, but that was the sentiment I got, was before I leave, I really want you to know that I believe in you. And so that's my heart. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll stop pontificating on that, and thank you again, Shane, for coming. This was fucking awesome. Larry, my co-host. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, do all that shit.
See you Tuesday.
Tuesday, we're going to kick ass. We're going to do a whole No King show. You should come. Because
I like that.
we're very proud of everybody that protested because
we do have
Trump is still in office and No Kings took over.
We have Wes Nickagary. Commissioner Wes Nickagary's coming.
I love Wes.
And Wes will be...
dude, he's almost got a full Manchu. Yeah. Last time I saw him the other day, dude.
Yes.
He's got the bun back here. I'm like, dude,
yes.
You are personifying. Dude, he's a sexy man.
I saw him at the...
I love him.
I saw him at the barbecue the other night, and he had the perfect kamikaze pilot.
Dude, he's fucking awesome. I love him. All right, we got to quit. All right, love you guys. We'll catch you next time.
That's not right.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí. My egg is my brain.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I want crepes.
Have some bacon and pancakes with that egg.
I'll take it with cheese.
Extra large brown cage-free eggs.
Can I have your brain with cakes?
A little sausage and a little toast and potato.
That would be great.
Does it have antibiotics?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
Well, they gotta be able to resist some diseases.
You resist the disease.
Has it got any hormones?
Maybe. It's cage free.
Vegetarian?
Maybe.
Are they vegan?
No, I eat steak.
Never apologize and never explain.
Never apologize.
Yeah. Never apologize and never explain.